I thought somebody said something.
Yeah, I just said something. Rick Wilby.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, brother?
How you end up here at Red Hills Towing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
No. Say how you end up here at Red Hills Towing?
Oh man, what happened is that I get these invites and I've been kind of busy with some issues in the family, and I said let me tune in today and see what's going on.
Oh, I don't even know how you. But anyway, hey man, thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
Greetings, comrades. Welcome to All Power.
Okay, thank
to
you.
the People podcast on Grown Folks Talking, Express Yourself Internet Radio via the Huddle Team app. We meet every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We discuss local, national, and global events that impact the material conditions of the people and provide viable solutions. We are here to find those tired of the way their lives are socially constructed. As Panthers, we use dialectic materialism. As Dr. Huey P. Newton stated, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. From combating a housing crisis to police patrols, we are the vanguard in place to serve our communities. The purpose of this program is to highlight contradictions in the electoral process, which Western culture calls politics. Politics is the struggle for resources. Participating in America's electoral process has only taken resources from the people and handed it to the oligarchs and the professional managerial class that serve them by maintaining the status quo through coercion. We know that power lies with the people, and it is our duty to organize and educate the community so that they can fight for their own liberation. So please, join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. You can join by downloading the Huddle Team app, join online, or call in. The app and joining online is free, but if you call in, standard messaging rates may apply. Links to the show will be provided in the caption. This is General Secretary Patience of the new African Black Panther Party, NABPP North. All power to the people.
I'll be having conversation with people, and they'll be like, so what do we do? What is our option? How do we change our material conditions? How do we change the reality around us? And I mean, you can't do that. This is from our food program. I mean, so that's why I'm starting off like this to show everybody like the things that you could do in the community. As Panthers, we come together in North to get this food to go out and give to the families that are starving. We all know, if we live in these communities, we know how hard times are. We're all going through it. We eat the same food too. We take the food in our home and we put them in our business. This is our during the school year, all year round. We don't have enough money to go build a school to be able to bring in all these children and stuff. We don't have all of that. But we can create an after-school program. And this is one of the ways we bring the kids in with the after-school program so they can come in for us to give them that knowledge, to teach them, and try to help guide them through this reality, through this world. Hey, you said they teach you about 9/11 in school?
Yeah.
What did they teach you about 9/11? Why did the plane hit the buildings? You got to say it loud enough so I can hear you.
And then they crashed some shit into the Twin Towers.
That's what they taught you, that the Muslims hijacked the plane?
They talked about it.
That's okay. Relax. But why did they crash into the Twin Towers? Anybody? Hey, what you were saying, Major? Hold up, let Major speak. What you say, Major? But why did they crash into the Twin Towers? So they crashed into the Twin Towers to go to New York. They died to go to New York.
They wanted to hijack.
Oh, they wanted to go land in New York, but they crashed in the Twin Towers. So anybody else got something to add? Archie, you got something to add? What? Which one to add?
You process to different places.
That's it? So nobody can tell me why the planes crashed? Why the planes did that? Nobody can tell me? But don't you think the school should tell you why?
Yes.
So, like, if the school not telling you why, what does that mean?
They keep it secret.
Wow.
Gatekeeping.
Whoa, where you get gatekeeping from, bro? But where you learn that at? You say me? you burnt out, yo. You burnt out. Nah, but the reason why they crashed into the into the Twin Towers is because the American government, America was going to their country, taking their natural resources, stealing their stuff, killing their people. So they got mad, they stole a plane, and they came and crashed it on the World Trade Center to get back at America. That's why they did it.
So was it 2 planes?
No, it wasn't one plane. I think it was 2 or 3. Was it? I think it was one. No, I think there was one in DC and there was one in Philly or something like that. That did. Yeah, huh?
And basically, there was
What did?
Twin Towers, and then there another one tried to crash into the place that crashed.
The Trump Tower? There ain't no plane trying to go to the Trump Tower. The White House?
The White House.
Did the plane try to go to the White House? No. The plane, one went to the Pentagon. But these people be lying. The media be lying. The politicians be lying. So you never know what's true. But why they really did it, they said because America was going over to their countries and they were killing their people, they were taking their resources, and they were putting military bases in their country. So that's why they did it. I mean, that's why they went over there and did it. So they call that blowback. Like when you go to another country and you do stuff to them, and then they come back over here and do something, like they call that blowback. It's like get back.
So imagine if it's
You said they should have did more? Then we gonna die. If they knew, because we gonna die. I don't want to die. But we're going to continue this later, y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all. We're going to continue later. This summer basketball camp is going on right now. Every day from 9 to 1, we have this basketball camp that that the kids come out. It's all about organizing and finding ways to bring people out, bring the children out, to be able to organize them. I mean, when you're doing these things to bring the children in, to bring the community in, you got to be serious. You can't be playing around with this. Like when the kids come here, at the end of the summer, they're stronger, they're faster, they're quicker, and they know more about the game, about the sport than they did before. We watch their minds develop every day while we're talking about Pantherism. What do we do? What are the solutions? There's solutions here. I mean, the solutions is organizing our own community, creating an economic base where we can be able to feed ourselves, take care of ourselves without having to bow down to somebody else. We don't have to beg somebody else for our humanity. I refuse to go beg anybody to give me humanity. I will take my humanity by force. I understand I am not free. We understand we are not free as Panthers. There's no doubt in our mind if we're free or not. And you cannot hold anybody that's under oppression, that's under neocolonialism, responsible for how their life turned out, because they control no institution. I mean, I often hear people say, like, the drug dealer, the worst thing in our community, the drug dealer, because they're stupid. They're ignorant. They haven't educated themselves to understand the world around them. So they just open their mouths and regurgitate whatever they heard somebody else say. You're a fool if you believe anything out here is your fault or our fault. Seriously. And I'm telling you, I work with the community all day and all night. And I know how ignorant the community can be. But I don't blame the people for the conditions they find themselves in. They have nothing to do with how anything is done materially in this world. They're just bystanders. The people that I hold accountable is those that know, the intellectuals. That's supposed to know better, but continue to usher our people into institutions of white supremacy, of imperialism, that will continue to exploit us. Tell our people to go vote. What are you voting for? I mean, who are you voting for? Who do they serve? They don't serve the people. They won't serve the people, or they won't survive in those institutions. Yeah, shit. Not nobody else. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, man. That's why I'm here. Everything. Hey, welcome everybody to All Power to the People on Grown Folks Talk and Express Yourself. I'm Chairman Africa and I'm your host. Hey, I hope everybody's doing good, man. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to everybody. Thanks for everybody for pulling up. If this is your first time here, we are an organization that's trying to change the reality in our community, in the world. Well, first you got to start with your community. We want to be all around the world. Wherever the people are suffering at, our goal is to be in those spaces, to help the people change the conditions in those spaces. That is the only reason why we're here. The only way you could change those conditions is by building institutions that serve the people. Our mission is clear. We're here to build institutions to serve the people, period. We're not here to be nice, to play nice with anybody. We understand what our purpose is. We read books and we study those in the past to understand how we are going to do what we hope to accomplish. One of the people that we read is Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois. We read Miseducation of a Negro. We read the Red Book by Chairman Mao, and I believe this is the third book that we're reading, The Philadelphia Negro, that explains the condition of black people during 1890s. But he goes back. Du Bois go back. The first couple of chapters, we're on chapter 4. The first 3 chapters explains the methods which he's going to use to study the Negro in that period, or the black people at that period. He talks about the method, how he how far back in history he was going to go, because to understand anything, you have to go back. You have to study the history of it. So he talked about how he's going to how far back he had to go. We talked about the Quakers, how before they even had the Civil War, some black people were free in Pennsylvania, and the Quakers were the one that freed them. And he went all into that history, how they basically got to 1896 in the 1890s when he wrote The Philadelphia Negro. And it's deep. It's deep listening to him, because you get to understand from his perspective how he see things. Because we're in 2025, we can look back now and see the decisions that were made, if they were right, if they were wrong, if they were correct, like how things turned out. And I don't want to give the book away, because it's really fascinating when you're listening. And then when I'm listening, I go and I do my own side research, like the names, the people that they bring up. I go and look into them, see about their past, who they were, because by understanding the person that's writing or the people that he's talking about, you get a fuller understanding of the story or what's going on. I'm telling you, it is deep. I'm not going to waste no time, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So I'm going to start it off. No, I'm gonna start it off this way. Let me go over here. Let me start it off this way. I was gonna wait to play this, but this week it happened last week. Deborah Terrell was in her home. I'm about to play the video. I want you to see what happened. When this happened, when what you just saw happened, I'm about to play it back. I want you to see it again. It's only a few seconds. I'm about to play something that's going to explain the whole story to you. But it's really basically simple. New Brunswick cop pepper sprayed, tased, and fatally shot 68-year-old black woman in senior building. Like, that's what you just saw in the video. You just saw their them confronting her at her door, knocking on her door for her to come outside, and then whatever happened there, but her life ended right there. And these things that we dealing with in the community have been here way for hundreds of years. This is not a new phenomenon. I'm about to play the video so you could hear the But yeah, when that happened, the family got in contact with me, and then I got in contact with the homie Jack from Plainfield. He runs Open. He's our comrade out there. He's a Panther too. So I got in contact with him, but he was already on it. He already knew what was going on. So we talked about it, and he said we was gonna go out there to do an investigation. This one right here.
I did on some real life open code 3, protect the elderly and learn to understand from the elderly shit. Always got killed in the front. I'm popping out over that motherfucker that she got killed at. Don't get my own witness statements, not witness statements that the police got. Get my own witness statements. Feel me? That way I can understand fully what the situation was. And then I'm taking those same witness statements to the fucking blocks in New Brunswick, and I'm show the homies and let them know, like, this is what the fuck happened. This is the old people that need our help. And you feel me? If you want some code 3 shit, just tap in with me, man. I'm going over here today. You feel me? On some real life code 3, protect the elderly. Rather than fucking trying to understand it from the elderly shit. So if you want to mind about the nigga, man, hit me up, you feel me? Today, after 5 o'clock, I'm over that bitch, man. I'm hitting the block, and I'm bringing my own witness statements to the homies.
Hey, all power to the people. See, Jack is from the streets. Jack is an organizer from the streets. Hey, yo, when he be out there organizing, he organizing the gangbangers. That's who Jack be out there organizing. That's who he's speaking to when he's speaking. I mean, and he telling them we going over there to go investigate, and we bringing this back to the streets. Yo, anything that we're going to achieve or do in our community, it has to be from the people, the masses of the people that are suffering, catching hell, that got to work 3-4 jobs to be able to pay rent, to be able to survive in society. Those people at the bottom of the ladder, that's who Jack is talking about. Yo, that's what we fight for. We fight for the masses of the people. We don't fight for the rich. We don't fight for a certain segment of the group. We fight for this. No, we fight for the people, the masses of the people that's out here catching hell. And that's who he addressing. I mean, so when he put the video out, we went out there, we did our own investigation, and then this is the story that they put out of what really happened. But we did our own investigation. Where's it at? Where am I going?
New Brunswick woman, 68, shot, killed by police, was a mother of 3, bus driver. The 68-year-old woman who was shot and killed by a New Brunswick police officer after authorities said she was walking around the halls of her apartment building with a knife was a mother of 3 who worked as a bus driver before retiring. Deborah McCalla. Terrell is remembered by her family as a homebody who enjoyed the company of people despite challenges with her mental health. She was outgoing and fun-loving, but she had mental issues, said Tormel Pittman, her nephew. She did have some mental issues, but she was always outgoing. She was a conversationalist. Put it this way, when you would talk to her, you would say, she's the perfect person to babysit your children. She was a grandmotherly, auntly type of person, a beautiful person, very into family. Terrell was raised on Hassart Street in the city and graduated from New Brunswick High School in 1976. During her high school years, she shined as a gifted athlete on the basketball and track teams. She lived in Buffalo, New York, with her late husband before returning to New Brunswick and moving into the John P. Fricano Towers on Nielsen Street, Pittman said. She was just an amazing person, Pittman said. I always appreciated the fact that she always offered to babysit my children. She would demand, if you're not going to let me babysit, bring my nephew and nieces over as much as possible. According to a statement from Attorney General Matthew J. Plakken's office, New Brunswick police officers were dispatched to the apartment building in response to a complaint about a resident walking around with a knife in the hallway. Terrell eventually exited the apartment with a knife, and police officers encountered her in the hallway, according to Plakken's office. Authorities said the officers used pepper spray and a taser. After an officer shot her, first aid was administered. The woman was taken to Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, where she was pronounced dead, according to the statement. Law enforcement officials recovered a knife at the scene, according to Plakken's statement. Although authorities said the investigation is ongoing and that state law requires the Attorney General's office to investigate after the death of a person during an encounter with a law enforcement officer, Pittman said the family is upset by the lack of information so far. Mayor Jim Cahill, in a statement provided to Tap into New Brunswick, called the events of August 8th at Fricano Towers a tragedy for our entire community. A longtime city resident has lost her life, and our deepest sympathies are with her family, friends, and neighbors, according to Cahill's statement. We also acknowledge that the police officer involved and his family will carry the weight of this moment forever. Our police officers undergo extensive training to prepare for the most complex and potentially dangerous situations they may encounter in the line of duty. That training is designed to prepare them to make sound, measured decisions and to act with professionalism and respect for the law, even under intense pressure. Still, no level of preparation can lessen the gravity or the sorrow a community feels when a life is lost. As required by New Jersey law, the investigation is being handled entirely by the New Jersey Attorney General's Office of Public Integrity and Accountability to ensure an independent, thorough, and impartial review of all facts and circumstances. We understand the desire for immediate answers, but the law and justice demand that the process be allowed to run its full course before any determinations are made. In the meantime, I urge our community to remain engaged, patient, and committed to allowing the truth to be fully and fairly uncovered.
But that's the report that they made, is to tap into talk of what happened. I mean, but we went down there, we asked them, and they basically said, like, we're not going to put out there everything we have because we might be giving it to the family. But they said she had a mental condition and the police came. When you look in that video, she has a mental condition and the police came. Yo, they got somewhere in one of these politicians, whatever, they got a bill that they passed trying to convince people to vote for them, that when the police come to anybody's house or somewhere where they have a mental condition, they're supposed to have doctors or whatever professionals that's supposed to talk to the person. You know, all this fake reform to a system that we know hates us, don't respect us. I don't care who you are. This system, these police, they don't respect you if you're not rich, if you don't have money, and if you're not the right color. Sometimes they ain't messing with you because it's all about class. But they go to police there. There's nobody there, like psychologically there to try to talk to this woman that they know has issues already. And the people that we talked to there, we talked to people that work there, we talked to the residents there. Everybody knew that she had issues, mental issues. So even from the beginning, right from the like this.
Okay. Since we're going through that direction, I'm gonna order her some.
You got to mute yourself, Rod. But yeah, but everybody know that they're supposed to have the medical people there. There's no medical people there, and they just came out, and this is how her life ended. Drove the bus, worked in the system all her life. I mean, this is how her life ended. Yo, let me go back a little bit. You see this person right here recording? See, part of the investigation that we did, this person that's recording right here quit. I think everybody's looking for him right now. The family's looking for him. Yo, if you see this video, the family looking for you. I believe he's taking a video right now. His video can give a different perspective into what happened. I mean, but the family's looking for you, but he quit. See, that's the information we found out when we got there. This person no longer works there. Everybody's looking for this person. Even the builders looking for them because they want to get that video too. I mean, but these are the conditions we're talking about. When we're talking about changing the conditions in our community, this is what we're talking about. Being lynched by the police. Because this is a lynching. I didn't go to the academy. I didn't study at the academy. I'm not a police officer. But I know if you say you're running for office, and when you come into office, it's going to be people that are trained medically to deal with the person that you're coming to knock on their door. And you're supposed to have them with you when you're going to go do any of this. And you don't have those people with you, and you're going to knock on the door after knowing that person has psychological issues. And whatever happens there is your fault. I don't need a degree in nothing to understand that. That's the side that we fall on. We don't fall on the side of the police. We don't fall on the side of the government. We stand on the side of the people 100, 2,000% of the time. We are always on the side of the people. And reading this, going through the Philadelphia Negro, what we're about to go through, you see the different psychological ideologies or philosophies in which black people have tried to survive in this space. What we've been conditioned to believe is what we should do by those in power of other black people. That's what he's really explaining to you, what Du Bois is explaining. And I really don't want to jump the gun because I want you to hear it for yourself. So I'm about to go to it because, like, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember what happened to Deborah Terrell. and then listen to what Du Bois is saying and the ideas that they're pushing, and ask yourself, we're in 2025. Would those ideas work today? Have those ideas work to change our condition here? And not just only black people, because it's not only black people going through this, keeping it a buck with you. Yo, if you poor, if you're at the bottom of the scale, like, by and large, you're going through this. You're going through this. Like, it doesn't matter. Because like Fred Hampton said, we're in a class war, goddammit. I mean, but if you're black, if you're an immigrant, if you're a woman, if you fall, whatever identity you are, and you fall within the class that we're talking about, where the masses of the people are, you're gonna have your own perspective on the condition, on what we're dealing with. Your perspective is gonna be different. If you're a woman, you're gonna be coming from it from a whole different perspective, because you deal with other biases as a woman. I mean, like, your whole feminism is real, patriarchy, all of these things are real. They're real in this world. Yeah, like, the way we talk as Panthers, because we believe, by and large, everything is on a class level. So often when you talk like that, people think you don't see the other what's the term I want to use? The other
intersectionality.
No, not intersectionality. The other forms of like categories of oppression, social classification of people, and how they suffer from how the society has defined their role and how their role is going to function. So if you're a woman, you have to deal with patriarchy, sexism. You have to deal with all these things. If you're a man, you got your own different stuff that you got to deal with too, different issues. And people get blinded because we all be fighting from our own different silos instead of understanding we are all suffering under the same imperialists. We are all suffering under the same landlords, corporations, owners, bosses. And those are the people that create all these divisions, that have us fighting each other. I mean, it sounds like we don't understand, or we don't see it from all those different points of view, but we do. But if you want to eliminate all that, you want to get rid of all those different forms of oppression, the first step is dealing with imperialism. That's the first step. You can't ignore imperialism. I mean, so I'm about to go into the book, and we're going to listen to Du Bois, man. And when we listen to Du Bois, I may say some harsh things about him. But look, let me move out of the way real quick. Look, you see him right there? Right there in the back right there. That's Du Bois right there. I mean, he's one of the people that I put on the Mount Rushmore of black intellectuals. But that don't mean I got to agree. I mean, the information that he left, the way he wrote this book, like, would make me not want to read it. But the information that I can pull out of it, oh my God. Because I still see the same conditions today. So let me go into it. It's a few minutes long. I'm going to stop a few times to make some commentary, whatever. But it's not that long.
The Philadelphia Negro, Chapter 4, The Guild of the Caterers, 1840 to 1870. The outlook for the Negro in Philadelphia about 1840 was not encouraging. The last of the first series of riots took place in 1842. It has been mentioned. The authorities were wakened to their duty by this last outbreak of barbarism, and for several years, the spirit of lawlessness, which now extended far beyond the race question and seriously threatened the good name of the city, was kept within control. However, in 1849, a mob set upon a mulatto who had a white wife. At the corner of
you heard what they just said? In 1849, a mob set upon a mulatto. Mulatto is half black, half white, basically. But a mob set up on a mulatto, a free, like, you see, if you miss the first couple of chapters, you miss where they spoke about the free people that were there. Because this was 1842 that they're talking about, the 1840s. The Civil War wasn't until didn't end until the 1870s. I mean, late 1860s. When did the Civil War end, man? Because to me, we're not free. So, like, remembering all these dates and keeping this stuff in my mind, it's really useless. All this stuff that I learned as a child is useless. 1861 to 1865. That's when they're supposed to have had their Civil War. Because we're not free. I mean, we're not free out here. You can't do what you want to do. You can't go nowhere. They have social structures that basically control you, control your life. You can't go nowhere. You got to beg them and ask them to go anywhere you want to go. You got to pay. But we're not free. I mean, but they saying we had a war that ended in 1865 that freed everybody. But in 1840s, they had black people that were already free. These were black people that had certain masters that freed them. Because if they're mulatto, that means they came about from from rape, master rape, whatever. Even if they concubine, whatever they want to call it, it's rape. Because you ain't no position to say no to anybody. I mean, you're a slave. So if you sleeping with the slave, you're raping them. And then the children that they produce, the slave master may feel kind or something. I don't know. They'll free that person, whatever. They become free. So like while other black people were still slaves, you had other people that were free that worked for these white people. This was like a chapter ago where he was explaining that. And these people learned from master, learned from the plantation, the people that ran the plantation, the people that raped their mothers. They learned how to be cooks, artisans, whatever they call them. I mean, how to be mechanics, because that's what they call.
You're jumping the gun.
Why am I jumping the gun?
Because he's going to talk about all of that.
No. But I'm just trying to explain to like these people that are free why this person was married with a white woman. I mean, because and this is in the 1840s. You wouldn't even think this would be, according to the way our history books tell us about slavery. This was before the Civil War, before black people were so-called free. That's when all of this happened right here. And what Du Bois is explaining. And they caught him in the streets. He free. What is he doing with his freedom? He's in the streets fighting about being in a relationship with a white woman. But I want you to think about that for a second. I want you to mull that over in your mind for a second. Like, this is black people it's like 50 years before the Civil War. Black people are still slaves. This is what the free black folks at that time. This is the kind of stuff that they was in the streets fighting about, rioting about.
Street and St. Mary's, and there ensued a pitched battle, its last outbreak of barbarism. And for several years, the spirit of lawlessness, which now extended far beyond the race question and seriously threatened the good name of the city, was kept within control. However, in 1849, a mob set upon a mulatto who had a white wife at the corner of 6th Street and St. Mary's, and there ensued a pitched battle for a night and a day. Firemen fought with firemen. The blacks, goaded to desperation, fought furiously. Houses were burned and firearms used, with the result that 3 white men and 1 Negro were killed, and 25 wounded persons taken to the hospital. The militia was twice called before the disturbance was quelled. These riots and the tide of prejudice and economic prescription drove so many Negroes from the city that the black population actually showed a decrease in the decade 1840 to 50. Worse than this, the good name of the Negroes in the city had been lost through the increased crime and the undeniably frightful condition of the Negro slums. The foreign element gained all the new employment.
We ain't going to just go past that. I'm not going to just ignore that. You heard him? You heard him? You already said about because of the slums, because of the masses, because of us. You have to insert yourself into these stories when we listen to them. Because of us, the poor class. I mean, we made the other Negroes look bad. I'm going to let you listen to him.
That the black population actually showed a decrease in the decade 1840 to 50. Worse than this, The good name of the Negroes in this
The good name of the Negroes in this city have been lost through the increased crime.
city had been lost through the increased crime and the undeniably frightful condition of the
Of the Negro slums. Of the Negro slums. I hate this shit.
The question these artisans' economic development. We must not forget the economic history caterers and its mass boss through the increased crime and the undeniably frightful condition of the Negro slums. The foreign element gave
Nothing else. It doesn't matter about the conditions outside our control. I mean, like, because the Negro slum, the crime that was going on there, that's why the good name of the Negro, the uppity Negro, the mulattoes like himself, because he was mixed with white too. I mean, that's why he had the privilege to go away to go to the schools he went to, go to Harvard, go to Germany, and all this place where he got educated from. I mean, to him, like, the mulattoes, in his mind, they were better than all the masses of us. They were better than us. They were better than me. I mean, because if he was alive today, right now, he wouldn't be. Well, he changed later. Like, I mean, this is early Du Bois. I think this is like his second book. So this is early Du Bois right here. Later on, he changed. They chased him out the country. I mean, because after a while, this cognitive dissonance ain't gonna work forever. I mean, so like his perspective changed. But be that as it may, at this time right here, when Du Bois was speaking, I am the enemy. We are the problem in society. It is not the government around us that's making us work 2, 3 jobs. It ain't them. It ain't the police shooting people in the back. I mean, it's not them. It's not the slumlords charging 2,000 and some change for rent in the hood. It's not them. It's not. None of this stuff has anything to do with the predicament that we are in. Nobody, not the school system, nothing. It is all on the individual, on the masses of the people, and that's the perspective that Du Bois is carried through so far from what we're reading. That's where he's coming from. That it is our fault that we're in the condition that we're in, and we make uppity Negroes like him look bad. Don't miss none of that. Understand exactly what he's saying, because the same thing he's saying then is how they be moving now. This is how they see everything right now. We still in a class war. And I told you, Fred Hampton said we're in a class war, goddammit. I mean, and he said that in the 60s. We're in 2025. We reading about the 1800s. At what point are like, not you, because if you hear it, you already get it. At what point are people going to wake up and be like, yo, like, but yeah.
all the new employments which the growing industries of the state opened and competed for the trades and common vocation.
Yeah, all the industries which the state and stuff opened up. This is where the jobs that they were trying to go into. Listen again, they're trying to go into the system, and they're fighting the other immigrants, like the slaves that come from down south that escape and come up for their freedom. They're fighting them. They're fighting the immigrants, the white immigrants that's coming across the seas. When you hear about Ellis Island, you hear about all this immigration, the Irish, the this, the that. They're fighting all those people to get those jobs in the new industry. What's that industry that coming? The industry which caused the Civil War. Not because they were so sad, everybody was so depressed about black people being slaves, about America having slaves. This new industry that was coming demanded slavery had to go. Because you couldn't have that. You couldn't have that under capitalism. You couldn't have that. You can't have people getting work for free, and then other people got to pay or some. It just won't work. You know how like these companies here, like we had a company in Newark, New Jersey, that had immigrants from wherever, South America, wherever they had them from. They had them working there, and then when Trump came in, they send the federales over there, and they send the federales over there, and they drag those people that's working there, those people that escape whatever poverty, escape wars, escape violence in their country, walk through deserts, did all of that stuff to come over here. Now, they get a job at that company making like $3, $4, when the company is supposed to be paying the people that live here, the residents, they're supposed to pay them like $30 to work there. But these people that come over here, these migrants that come, the same thing he's talking about, when the migrants come, they get the job for less. So how you think the people in the community feel about that? How you think they feel about the migrants when they say the migrants coming in and you see they're fighting each other and they're not fighting the imperialists, the people that's causing the whole thing to happen. They're not fighting them. The people that caused them to run from their country, they're not fighting them. They're fighting the people that they see right there in front of them that's trying to fight for the same scraps. This is who they're fighting. We're fighting each other and not fighting the imperialists. And the same stuff he talking about right here. When the immigrants came in, like, remember, this was before the end of the Civil War. This was before the Civil War. This is like 40, 50 years for the Civil War. They had black folks over there that were free, that were going through the same conditions and economic stuff that we're going through now. See, but Du Bois doesn't speak of it from an economic perspective. He does speak of it from an economic perspective about how the Boule are so much way off better than the masses of the people. But he doesn't speak on it from of imperialism. He don't come at it from imperialism. He come at it from a racial perspective, and ignores all the other factors that created the condition that the people are dealing with in Philadelphia.
The outlook was certainly dark. It was at this time that there arose to prominence and power as remarkable a trade guild as ever ruled in the medieval city. It took complete leadership of the bewildered group of Negroes and led them steadily onto a degree of affluence, culture, and respect, such as has probably never been surpassed in the history of the Negro in America. This was the Guild of the Caterers, and its masters include names which have been household words in the city for 50 years: Bogle, Augustin, Prosser, Dorsey, Jones, and Minton. To realize just the character of this new economic development, we must not forget the economic history of the slaves. At first, they were wholly house servants or field hands. As city life in the colony became more important, some of the slaves acquired trades, and thus there arose a class of Negro artisans. So long as the pecuniary interests of a slaveholder class stood back of these artisans, the protest of white mechanics had little effect. Indeed, it is probable that...
Right there he's saying as long as the government stayed out of it, these free Negroes could, they could business the white people in the same space as that they were in. I mean, that's what he's saying right there, as long as the government stayed out of it. Like he's not talking about all the masses of the people that's still like slaves, that's still peasants, that's still poor. He's not worrying about them. He's worrying about one class of people.
Between 1790 and 1820, a very large portion, and perhaps most, of the artisans of Philadelphia were Negroes. Thereafter, however, the sharp competition of the foreigners and the demand for new source of skilled labor, of which the Negro was ignorant and was not allowed to learn, pushed the black artisans more and more to the wall. In 1837, only about 350 men out of a city population of 10,500 Negroes pursued trades, or about 1 in every 20 adults. The question, therefore, of obtaining a decent livelihood was a pressing one for the better class of Negroes. The masses of the race continued to depend upon domestic service, where they still had a practical monopoly, and upon common labor, where they had some competition from the Irish.
You heard him? You heard where the mass of the people was at? He just said it. I didn't make that up. He just said what the mass of the people was doing.
Domestic service.
Right.
The question, therefore, of obtaining a decent livelihood was a pressing one for the better class of Negroes.
For the better class, for getting a good livelihood, whatever. I mean, for the better class, for them, for his class.
The masses of the race continue to depend upon domestic service.
So the masses, whatever job that you may have, I don't care if you're security, I don't care if you're working at a working at a what them live-ins where you going helping people. It don't matter whatever you do, whatever you're working at, because most of the jobs in America now are service jobs, and that's what he's talking about. The mass of the people were in service jobs. That's where the cleaning their houses, taking care of their kids, breastfeeding their kids, still on plantations. Like these were the jobs that black people, the mass of black people had back then. If you could have a job back then, if somebody, a white person, would hire you, if you wasn't a slave, this was the job that you had. And we were the problem. We were the problem. Those people were the problem in society. Those the people that you needed to deal with, that they needed the law to control. So like, what would I get from reading this, right? I will understand that our condition hasn't really changed. We were always on them service jobs. We've always been in this same in this same space. We haven't grown from this space. So whatever solution or whatever theory I want to follow is that's different from where we at right now or where we've been. See, that's what I will learn from that. And all people like him, all their ideas back then on what we need to do, throw them in the garbage. See, that's what I will learn from it. Throw it in the garbage because it hasn't worked. It hasn't served anybody but them. And I could make examples today of that too.
Where they still had a practical monopoly, and upon common labor, where they had some competition from the Irish. To the more pushing and energetic Negroes, only 2 courses were open.
The mass of the people were not pushing or energetic. The only people that were the mulattoes. These people that had this education because their masses feel like they should have those educations. Because it was illegal for you to read or write back then. It was illegal to know any of that. There's no school for you to go to learn nothing. So the masses of the people, they didn't have schools to go to learn nothing. See, but mulattoes like him, people like him in his class, they had their master taught them. And they had access to these institutions that the mass of people didn't have. The same mass of people that he's talking about, like they're nothing. And they haven't said nothing that they would do for these people. This we in chapter 4. I haven't heard him say anything that these great leaders, black men that he talked about here, Jones, McKay, whatever, all these people we talking about, I haven't heard not one thing that they said they were going to do to serve the people. Nothing. It's only been about them.
To enter into commercial life in some small way, or to develop certain lines of home service into a more independent and lucrative employment. In this latter way was the most striking advance made. The whole catering business arising from an evolution truly, persistently, and tastefully directed, transformed the Negro cook and waiter into the public caterer and restaurateur, and raised a crowd of underpaid menials to become a set of self-reliant, original businessmen who amassed fortunes for themselves and won general respect for their people. The first prominent Negro caterer was Robert Bogle, who, early in the century, conducted an establishment on 8th Street near Saint and Restaurateur, and raised a crowd of underpaid menials to become a set of self-reliant, original businessmen who amassed fortunes for themselves and won general respect for their people.
Yo, like I wanted to bring that back. It's the same thing now. That's what capitalism tell you. To go out and make money for yourself and your family. There's nothing about the culture, the people. There's nothing about that. Everything that they preach now is about you going out to go make money for yourself and your family. Screw everybody else. And that's the same thing that he's talking about here. And then who say they won respect from? Who did they win respect from for their people? And won general respect for their people. Who you won respect from? They won respect from their master, the people that was oppressing the rest of us. That's who they seek to get respect from. They didn't seek to get respect from the people. That's not where they were seeking to get their respect from. That's not who they were trying to impress, who they were trying to work. All they cared about is looking as intellectual, as proper, as white. as their master. That's all they cared about. And we were all, the masters of the people were just a byproduct. That's what I'm getting from reading this. And if anybody getting something else, like, talk to me. When you hear them talking, if you getting something else, talk to me. Let me know what you're hearing.
The first prominent Negro caterer was Robert Bogle, who, early in the century, conducted an establishment on 8th Street near Sansome. In his day, he was one of the best-known characters of Philadelphia and virtually created the business of catering in the city. As the butler or waiter in a private family arranged the meals and attended the family on ordinary occasions, so the public waiter came to serve different families in the same capacity at larger and more elaborate functions. He was the butler of the smart set, and his taste of hand and eye and palate set the fashion of the day. This functionary filled a unique place in a time when social circles were very exclusive, and the millionaire and the French cook had not yet arrived. Bogle's place was eventually taken by Peter Augustine, a West Indian immigrant who started a business in 1818, which is still carried on. It was the Augustine establishment that made Philadelphia catering famous all over the country.
1818 had his own business, came from, where is it, in the West Indies? So he was a slave from the West Indies. He got away. His slave master, whatever he learned from his slave master, whatever he got from his slave master, opened up his own business. Individualism, like you could see the thread just going all the way through. Individualism. Opened up his own business, did his own thing. Listen to how these people moved back then. These free Negroes that had the opportunity to do something, listen to how they moved.
The best families of the city and the most distinguished foreign guests were served by this caterer. Other Negroes soon began to crowd into the field thus opened. The Prossers, father and son, were prominent among these, perfecting restaurant catering and making many famous dishes. Finally came the triumvirate, Jones, Dorsey, and Minton, who ruled the fashionable world from 1845 to 1875. Of these, Dorsey was the most unique character. With little education, but great refinement of manner, he became a man of real weight in the community and associated with many eminent men. Quote, he had the sway of an imperial dictator. When a Democrat asked his menial service, he refused because he could not wait on a party of persons who were disloyal to the government and Lincoln.
You hear that? That's a black free person. That's a black free person in the 1800s. This what he wouldn't serve nobody because they was disloyal to the government. Like, do you see their mindset on where they were at? Instead of fighting for the liberation of the masses of the people, their mindset was assimilation into this society, that exploited everybody. Let me see what it says here about Dorsey. Let me go back and let's read about Dorsey real quick. Man. Dorsey was born in Philadelphia on October 23rd, 1837, into a prosperous family headed by his father, Thomas J. Dorsey. Remember, he was born into money. He wasn't somebody that was born in the projects, going to public schools in the hood. He wasn't born into that. He was born into money. A noted caterer and part of the black elite, Thomas escaped slavery from a plantation in Maryland in 1830s and made his way to Philadelphia with his brothers, including Basil Dorsey. They ended up on a farm of black abolitionist Robert Purvis. Thomas was captured and returned, but the friends he made in Philadelphia raised money to buy his freedom in 1836. He was among a tribe of colored caterers who some years ago might have been said to rule the social world of Philadelphia through its stomach. One newspaper reported in 1896. The others were Henry Jones and Henry Minton. We're going to get into them later. Thomas' catering business was so successful that he and his family lived a privileged lifestyle, owning a home on Locust Street, one of the premier addresses in the city, and other properties. Some of the major figures of the day it has at its table: abolitionist Frederick Douglass and Pennsylvania Councilwoman William D. Kelly, Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner, and anti-slavery activist and William Lloyd Garrison. But these are all the people that they mingle with. When I say I don't blame the mass of the people for the conditions that we are in, and I blame the intellectuals, the elite, all these people, these are the people I'm talking about. You heard Frederick Douglass in there. All the ideas that we're pushing was to assimilate into the government that was oppressing us, to assimilate into Massa House. That's what Malcolm said. I'm not making this up. This ain't. I know, like people probably hearing it. Sometimes you're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds like I'm saying something radical. Nothing I'm saying is radical. This is what it is. That's what their politics are: assimilation. Just like politicians of today, to assimilate us into the government that's oppressing us, into the institutions that we can't get away from, instead of leading the people into building their own institutions. They lead the people right into the lion's den. And that's what they was doing back then. That's what he was doing. That's what all these people was doing. Bush said, like, yo, I'm not serving nobody that don't support Abraham Lincoln. What are you talking about? But this is the mentality. These are the people that we've been following. We've been going to school. They've been telling us, like, these are the people that you should look up to as role models. Even, like, the boys, like, they talking about this book is like the greatest book ever written. The Philadelphia Negro, wherever. When I was going through school, like, that's all you see. Philadelphia, every Black History Month. Philadelphia Negro, the Philadelphia Negro. But if you read the Philadelphia Negro, it's just like listening to that song, Self-Destruction. Go listen to Self-Destruction. All they're doing is pointing a finger at the people. They're not talking about the system, the institutions that's attacking the people on every single day of our lives. Yo, you get up tomorrow's going to be Monday. They got street cleaning tomorrow. They're going to run around the city stealing people's cars. Yo, somebody's parked on the wrong side of the street. Yo, we could understand giving them a ticket for them to understand. We could understand that far, even though people poor as hell. But you give them a ticket and then you tow their car, and for them to get it back, they got to pay almost like $200 to get it back. When you know the people that's living in that community don't even make that much a week. They don't make enough to be paying $200 or something to get their car back. So they end up leaving their car there. And the impound lot that's owned by ex-police officers get to keep the car. And they get to sell it and make money off it. Like, these are all the little hidden taxes that nobody speaks about because they don't live in our communities. The people that get to speak for us, they do not live with us. They don't eat with us. They don't breathe the same air we breathe. These people are like people like Cornel West. Cornel West don't understand none of these issues, bro. Cornel West shouldn't be speaking for me. He shouldn't be speaking for none of us. But these are the people that they platform, that they give platform to go out there and speak, and they act like they're fighting for us when they're really fighting for access for themselves.
Pointing to the picture in his reception room was the government. End quote.
Yeah, that was the picture in his reception room of the Jones's reception room. He had a picture of the government, the United States government. That in itself is treachery. If you call yourself black, you're pro-black, you're with the liberation of black people, and the government that's oppressing your people, that's what you have up in your living room. The richest black person at the time, probably. This is what they pay loyalty to, just like now. Nothing has changed. And that's how we started the video of showing everything we do in the community, and everything we do in the community is for free. Everything. We'll go out and raise money ourselves to provide free programs in the community, to try to organize the community, to understand if we all work together, we can achieve much more. What would our after schools be if the entire community was organized to build something? Our little after school program would be a giant school in Newark, where we are educating our children. But that's not what we do. We follow these people that tell us to go into the government, to join the government.
Jones was Virginia born, and a man of great care and faithfulness. He catered to families in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York. Minton, the younger of the three, Long had a restaurant at 4th and Chestnut and became, as the others did, moderately wealthy. Such men wielded great personal influence, aided the abolition cause to no little degree, and made Philadelphia noted for its cultivated and well-to-do Negro citizens. Their conspicuous success opened opportunities for Negroes in other lines. It was at this time that Stephen Smith amassed a very large fortune as a lumber merchant, with which he afterward handsomely endowed a home for aged and infirm Negroes. Whipper, Vidal, and Purnell were associated with Smith at different times. Still and Bowers were coal merchants, and Adger was in the furniture business. There were also some artists of ability. Bowser, who painted a portrait of Lincoln and Douglas and Burr. Johnson, the leader of the famous colored band and a composer. During this time of effort, advance and assimilation, the Negro population increased but slowly.
Hell, you heard him.
For the economic merchants, Adger was in the furniture business.
Listen.
There were also some artists of ability. Bowser, who painted a portrait of Lincoln and Douglas and Burr. Johnson, the leader of the famous colored band and a composer.
Those are the celebrities and entertainers right now he's named them. But listen to what they're trying to do.
During this time of effort, advance and assimilation.
Advance and assimilation. They wanted to assimilate into this government, into this society. They wanted to be part of imperialism, of the oppression of everybody else. They were not looking for liberation. That's what this class of people were trying to do. The class that Du Bois was speaking so highly of, the leaders of black people. He talking about something, the accomplishments they made back then was never seen before. Yo, if he was alive now, with that same mind he had back then, because we know he evolved, with that same mind, he would be amazed to see Oprah. He would be amazed to see a Joy, to see a Colin Powell. But that success has never changed what the mass of the people, the hell they've been catching. Has never changed it. Those assimilation or access into white supremacy by these mulattoes, these Uncle Toms, these traders, these sellouts. None of their advancements into this society has ever done anything for the masses of the people. You know it yourself. We all know it. Because we still catching hell. Why they're making advancements. We still out here. But what's the first thing they say? As soon as the same massa attack them, they go to the color thing. Our people. They start using their race. Like we should support them. Well, all of them. Puffy, all of them. What Puffy said right before he got locked up, he made a video talking about coming up with a party, a revolutionary black party for black people. That's the kind of goofy stuff they talk about. Why they run around here with baby oil, putting baby oil on everything. And they talking, when they're about to lock them up, they start talking about revolution.
The Negro population increased but slowly. For the economic struggle was too earnest, for young and indiscriminate marriages, and immigrants had been frightened away by the riots. In 1840, there were 19,833 Negroes in the county, and 10 years later, as has been noted, there were only 19,761. For the next decade, there was a moderate increase to 22,185, when the war brought a slight decrease, leaving the Negro population 22,147 in 1870. Meantime, the white population had increased by leaps and bounds. In 1810, the Negroes had formed nearly 1/10 of the population of the city, but in 1870, they formed a little over 1/33, the lowest proportion ever reached in the history of Philadelphia. The general social condition showed some signs of improvement from 1840 on. In 1847, there were 1,940 Negro children in school the Negroes held. It was said, about $400,000 in real estate, and had 19 churches and 106 benevolent societies.
And you hear how they used to be, like they always say, we had all these black schools, we had all this black stuff back then, before this, before that, we had all this. We didn't have nothing. Because these people that was running these schools had the same mentality as their masters, as the people that oppressed them, as the government that was oppressing us. Their curriculum always ran parallel with those people's curriculum. Yo, you don't have a school if it run parallel to your master's school. If the curriculum run parallel to your master's school, your curriculum is supposed to say this is the master. This is what we're trying to get away from. They cannot oppress us. Not this is who we want to go work for. We should go in here and learn their language, learn how to count, so we could go in here and go work in their factories. That's not what our school is supposed to teach us. Our school is supposed to teach us how to take power, because that's what true politics is. Politics is the struggle for resources. That's what politics is. Most people think politics is voting, politics is supporting some candidate or doing something goofy like that. But politics is the struggle for resources. Yo, there's an abundance of resources out there. How are we going to get our hands on that? Remember I say we, not I. How are we as a people, as an organization, as whatever, how are we going to take advantage of that? How are we as masters of the people going to take advantage of the power dynamic? How are we going to stop our grandmothers from being shot while they're in their homes? They have a mental issue. They've worked their whole lives, worked for this, drove bus. Her whole life she drove a bus and worked in this hell of a country as a black woman. And now in her golden years, at 68, in her own apartment, knock on the door and shoot her. How do we prevent that? Not how do we go get cameras to capture our lynchings. See, that's not what we talk about as Panthers. As Panthers, we talk about building institutions. So if our senior is having a problem, we are the ones that are called, not the police, not the state. We own that building. So if our senior's acting up in there, you call her nephew Tromel. You call her nephew and be like, yo, we got to do something. And then the nephew may call the doctor or whatever, and the doctors go over there, and the doctors are the one that go in there and deal with our elderly what? Ancestor. See, that's how it's supposed to work. Not they live in a building, and if something happen, they call in the pigs, and the pigs come in and kill them. At what point are we going to learn that the pigs are not here to do anything for us? That the state is not here to do anything for us? So people ask, so what are the options? What are the other options? What do? We own that building that our elderly people are staying at. We pull our resources from the plantation to start to build our underground railroad. And that's what I mean by underground railroad. Having facilities like this that our people will go and retire into, that we're going to retire into. We own them. We manage them. They're under our control. That's the other option. And then if anybody got another question like what we do after that, then you ask that question and we enter that debate. But the first step is she shouldn't be living nowhere where the call that's going to be made is going to be made to the state, to the government. We already know these people are not here to protect us or serve our communities. And if we don't know that, that is why it's very important. It's a necessity that we build our own institutions so we could teach our people this stuff. We could teach our children this stuff, teach them the world that they're in, the reality that they're in. Not wait till they come in there and then they lynch one of us and then we complaining, we marching, we begging. Begging who? The time for begging is over.
The mass of the race were still domestic servants. About 4,000 of the 11,000 in the city proper being thus employed, a figure which probably meant a considerable majority of the adults. The remainder were chiefly employed as laborers, artisans, coachmen, expressmen, and barbers. The habitat of the Negro population changed somewhat in this period. About 1,790, 1/4 of the Negroes lived between Vine and Market and east of 9th, 1/2 between Market and South, mostly in the alleys bounded by Lombard, 5th, 8th, and South. 1/8 lived below South, and 1/8 in the Northern Liberties. Many of these, of course, lived in white families. In 1837, A quarter of the Negroes were in white families. A little less than one half were in the city limits, centering at 6th and Lombard, or thereabouts. A tenth lived in Mayamsing, a 20th in Northern Liberty, and the remaining part in Kensington and Spring Garden districts. The riots concentrated this population somewhat, and in 1847, of the 20,000 Negroes in the county, only 1,300 lived north of Vine and east of 6th. The rest were in the city proper, in Mayamsing and in South Ward. Mayamsing was the worst slum district. Between
You hear that? Only 1,300 lived on the other side out of 20,000. And the rest of them, listen to where they lived at.
in South and Fitzwater, and 5th and 8th, there were crowded 302 families in narrow, filthy alleys. Here was concentrated the worst sort of depravity, poverty, crime, and disease. The present slums at 7th and Lombard are bad and dangerous, but they are decent compared with those of half a century ago.
Yeah, they're decent compared to those of 50 years prior. There's nothing about what they're going to do as the leaders in the community, because he's talking about these great leaders in the community. There's nothing he's saying that they're going to do about those people living in the slums. Are they going to educate them? Are they going to uplift them and bring their people to where they were at? That's not the conversation. It's always a separate. It's a separatist conversation, like them over there are different from us.
The Negroes furnished 1/3 of all the commitments for crime in 1837 and 1/2 in 1847.
And when they talk about crime, like him, he's talking about crime, and you hear other professional Negroes, black people, the middle class black folk, when they talk about crime, they're not talking about the landlords. They're not talking about how they're systematically displacing people. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the bosses, the owner that's not paying people. How are you going to pay people? Not enough to be able to even survive. And like these people, they don't think that's violence. Like if you pay somebody, if people going to work and their wages are being depressed through systematic ways, through using politicians to make sure the wages don't go up, to make sure you can raise rents on people every year. You use politicians, you buy the politicians off. The politicians work for these people. And you know the people that live there are not making enough to be able to survive. What other option are you giving people? And people act like that's not violence, that is not crime. But the person that you see out there selling a nickel bag, selling a dime bag, out there hustling, trying to find a way to survive, those are the criminals. The gangbangers that this form of system produces. Because people that are in gang, when you live in these communities, because we live in these communities. I live in Newark, New Jersey. I grew up in Newark my whole life. When you go to school, when everybody, like people start, because when I was going to school, I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't even gangs. Back then, there used to be blocks. People had their own different blocks. So you go to school, and like people belong to these blocks and stuff. So you can just say like, I'm on that block, I'm moving over there. I'm gonna give you an example. I lived on Valley Street, Valley and Stuyvesant in Newark, and my man Poet, he used to live on Sunset, but he was cool with people on Brookdale. I mean, he had friends and family on Brookdale, so they had a group called KBN. See, I lived on Valley, but since I was friends with Poet, and we went to school, we went to Westside together, I sat at the same table that they sat at lunchtime, or everybody else in KBN, because Poet was part of KBN. It was just that block. That's what they called themselves. I mean, I ain't going to tell you what KBN mean. You can guess it for yourself. Somebody put it in the group chat. I'll give you a free chicken when we do the next grill if you got it right, if you got what KBN means. I mean, but I used to be with Poet, so I was good. But if I wasn't from that block, if I wasn't affiliated with it, like you would get bullied, you would get beat up, you would get robbed. I mean, like people would come at you. I mean, it was different back then. And then after that, it became the gangs. So, like, different parts of the city, whatever, you had different gangs, whatever gang that was. See, I didn't grow up in that era, but it was basically the same thing. I mean, if you, like, people that had nothing else had, like, this is what they gravitated to for, like, protection, for security. Like, friends. This what gangs really are. and they protect, they load drugs on if they're selling drugs, if they're all out there selling drugs, they protect that space because they're all there selling drugs there. But these are all things that happen because the system, the overriding system, don't put things in position or institutions in positions to be able to guard these minds, these individual people, to where they don't end up having to find family or belong to these groups for protection. See, that's not what is explained when you listen to people like Cornel West. All these people talk about crime in our community, and we're going to get to all of that later. They don't never talk about it. They don't explain it like that. So like you live, like let's say I lived on Valley, and then like let's say I wanted to be a good Negro, so I'm not going to join no gang. I don't belong to no block. So I'm just by myself. I'm just going to school. I'm by myself. I'm just being. Yo, my life would have been real. My life would have been real because everybody else belonged to a clique. And this is how they dealt with issues. They were by bullying people, by taking other people's stuff. That's what it means to grow up in the hood. You got to deal with this kind of stuff. So how do you deal with it? Just to be by yourself? That makes no sense. You know why it makes no sense? Because you end up like me when you by yourself. You end up like me, getting stabbed in the back, getting stabbed in the head. You go to prison. Like, I ain't joining no gang. Because that's when gangs was popping off. I ain't joining no gang. I'm not going to be part of no gang. So now you by yourself. When things jump off in prison, you by yourself. Ain't nobody coming to come help you. But when you walk in there, like some people even go to Jesus or they go to Allah. They join them groups. Like when you get in prison, they join different groups to be able to stay alive. So that people don't put pressure on them. People don't try to exploit them. But then they go me coming in there like, nah, my name, I'm Africa. I'm not joining nothing. Then with like somebody come and try to steal from you, you don't just deal with them. You deal with them and all the people that's in their gang. Whether it be Latin Kings, Bloods. You have to, and it don't matter if they know you. They're part of that clique. So you gotta deal with that. But the way how they make gangs out to be like people just wake up and just be like, yo, I want to join the gang. Like these are not systemic things that are the outcome of the residue of what has been produced in the society of poverty. The parents not home, not to watch the kids. They're working 2-3 jobs. Who's watching the kids? Who's raising the kids? What you think? All these things are not important? Family life is not important. Raising your children is not important. Everybody want to. All of this, having the dumbest schools in the country, in the city, in the state, filtering the kids through there, learning nothing. They're just going through there. It's just a daycare center. You think that has nothing to do with the people? These are all the things that produce the people that you see outside. These institutions, they produce them. You go to school, you're in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, you don't know how to read. How are you all the way in the 9th, 10th grade, you don't know how to read? You think that has nothing to do with somebody becoming a gang member or being into the streets? But those things are never addressed by people like this, by the Du Bois, by these intellectuals. You're going to see what they say that you do. I'm going to let them say it for themselves.
Beginning with 1850, the improvement of the Negro was more rapid. The value of real estate held was estimated to have doubled between 1847 and 1856. The proportion of men in trades remained stationary. There were 2,321 children in school. Toward the time of the outbreak of war, the feeling toward the Negro in certain classes softened somewhat, and his staunch friends were enabled to open many benevolent institutions. In many ways, a disposition to help them was manifested. The newspapers treated them with more respect, and they were not subject so frequently to personal insult on the street. They were still kept off the streetcars in spite of energetic protests. Indeed, not until 1867 was a law passed prohibiting this discrimination.
What's that? That's 2 years. That's 2 years after slavery.
Upheld the railways for a long time, and newspapers and public opinion supported them. When by Judge Allison's decision, the attitude of courts was changed, and damages granted an evicted Negro, the railway companies often sidetracked and left cars which colored passengers had entered. Separate cars were run for them on some lines, and in 1865, a public ballot on the cars was taken to decide the admission of Negroes.
Now you see what they're fighting for? Assimilation, being allowed to ride on their train. Like there's no conversation about building their own trains or starting their own anything. The entire conversation is always assimilation. And we say that's wrong. Like that's not where the conversation should be starting from. The conversation should be starting from, how much are you able to donate for us to build our own institution? Because at this moment we understand, like you can't trust these people. You can't trust the government. You can't trust nothing they say. You know what? Let me tell you. Let me read it from somebody that said it. Somebody that you. Hold on, wait. Let me find it. Check this out. The French, British, and Spanish imperialists. I don't want to say the name, but I'm gonna say it. One source states that Toussaint knew French, British, and Spanish imperialists for the insatiable gangsters that they were. These are the Europeans he's talking about. This is when Toussaint was trying to fight for the liberation of Haiti. This is what Toussaint said. One source states that Toussaint knew French, British, and Spanish imperialists for the insatiable gangsters that they were. That there is no oath too sacred for them to break. No crime, deception, treachery, cruelty, destruction of human life and property which they would not commit against those who could not defend themselves. These are the people that we are dealing with. No treachery is above them. I'm talking the lawmakers. When you're dealing with imperialism, you have to understand all these institutions are not here to serve the people. The evidence is clear after all these decades and generations of us being exploited. There's no need to act. There's no questions to be asked anymore. Toussaint wrote this in the 1800s, where he said, like, you can't trust these people. But those are the people that Du Bois is telling us we got to trust. Those are the people that Du Bois and them, they're telling us, like, we got to go sit in their train cars with them. We got to assimilate into these institutions. That is what is going to liberate us. That is how you find liberation. That is how you become a man, by joining these institutions. And I just read to you what Toussaint said. For the insatiable gangsters that they were, that there is no oath too sacred for them to break. No crime, deception, treachery, cruelty, destruction of human life and property which they would not commit against those who could not defend themselves. I don't doubt these people. I don't doubt what Trump would do. I don't doubt how far they will go. They will kill all of us without even thinking twice about it. You see, that's where I'm at. That's the understanding. That's the level of thinking I'm at. But I'm not on no reactionary way. I'm talking about, everybody, come on, let's go get guns. Let's go do this. No. As a sociologist, you understand that if you want to change the conditions outside, you must build institutions that change how generations think and how they move. Going out to go get a gun, say you're going to go attack this person, you're going to go do this, that is reactionary behavior. That just leave you dead and everybody dead and nothing changes. If you truly want to change society, you build institutions. You organize the people. And that's the work most people won't do. Most of the people that you see that they tell you are activists, they're revolutionaries, they're all going to tell you to go vote and support the system. They're not going to tell you we need to go build our own institutions. So that's where the real work is at.
Actually, the contestants returned a large majority against any change. Finally, after public meetings, pamphlets, and repeated agitation, the prospective enfranchisement of the freedmen gained what decency and common sense had long refused. Steps toward raising Negro troops in the city were taken in 1863 as soon as the efficiency of the Negro soldier.
Those wealthy black folks, those free Negroes, during the war, whatever war, they used them to go and round up the black folks in the community to go fight in the wars of this rich people for this oligarchs. That's what their job was. And they're out there. Because, like, when you see rallies today, you see people outside marching, doing all this stuff. They're being funded by somebody. Somebody's organizing them. Somebody's paying somebody in that group to organize the rest of them to bring these people out. They're getting paid. Some rich person is paying for it. None of it is from the people, from Black Lives Matter to whatever organization they want to call themselves out there. They're all organized by somebody else. They get money from somewhere else, from somebody that give them their marching orders and what candidate that they go out there and push. Because when you listen to these people, just listen. Just pay attention to what they're saying. Whatever organization, at the end of the day, they're going to tell you who to go support, that they're supporting. They're not fighting for us.
Had been proven. Several hundred prominent citizens petitioned the Secretary of War and were given permission to raise Negro regiments. The troops were to receive no bounties, but were to have $10 a month in rations. They were to rendezvous at Camp William Penn, Shelton Hills. A mass meeting was soon held, attended by the prominent caterers, teachers, and merchants, together with white citizens, at which Frederick Douglass, W.D. Kelly, and Anna Dickinson spoke. Over 30,000 was raised in the city by subscription, and the first squad of soldiers went into camp June 26, 18.
You see how all those people didn't show up for the people that lived in the slums? All those people showed up to come send people to go to war, to go fight for the politicians, whatever that they supported. Even though that they knew these people were going to fight in war, it wasn't going to do nothing to change their conditions. They came and raised 30,000 to send people to go fight. 30,000 back then is a lot of money. They didn't raise that money for the people, the poor people that was over there, that was catching hell. They didn't use that money to build schools or build institutions for their people. This is what they did back then.
1963.
That's what
By December, 3 regiments were full, and by next February, 5. The first 3 regiments, known as the 3rd, 6th, and 8th United States Regiments of Colored Troops, went promptly to the front, the 3rd being before Fort Wagner when it fell. The other regiments followed as called, leaving still other Negroes anxious to enlist. After the war and emancipation, great hopes were entertained by the Negroes for rapid advancement, and nowhere did they seem better founded than in Philadelphia. The generation then in its prime had lived down a most intense and bitter race feud and had gained the respect of the better class of whites. They started with renewed zeal, therefore, to hasten their social development.
So that's chapter 4. That's chapter 4, and basically it's the same thing. Like he's telling us the same thing. He's basically giving us a history before the 1890s. He's telling us how black people got to where they were at. But you could see from his perspective, you could see where he's coming from, you could see from his ideological perspective, he wasn't thinking about the masses of the people. Like, that's not what the book was for. That's not. The book was written to really bemoan and really complain about how hard Uncle Tom's, the house Negroes, had it back then. Their existence, how they lived back then. Because like most of the stuff he's talking about is about the mulattoes and the suffering that they went through trying to get closer access to white people. That's what I'm getting out of it so far. But look, now we're in 2025, right? This is Norman Finkelstein. He's a professor. He's supposed to be one of the top leading intellectuals when it comes to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And he's on here. He's talking to Cornel West. He just ran for president. He's another professor. Remember, academics. This is who these people are. Academics. And academics are part of the problem. We already understand that going in. I mean, but he got another woman up there. I don't even know what her name is. I really don't care because she's not saying nothing different either. But I'm gonna let you listen to the conversation, and we're gonna talk about it after that.
Emphatic exchange of opinions, and when you're talking to somebody who's a war criminal, who has blood in their hands, and I believe that to allow that person freedom of speech on a college campus is a form of desecration of the dead. And I don't consider that acceptable. Now, that can be a Henry Kissinger, for those of you who hail back to my era, or it could be a Jean Kirkpatrick, but let's hear what Dr. Cornell West has to say. Is it, in your opinion, a form of desecration of the dead to let them speak?
All right, so this is Cornell West about to answer the question. But the question is, all these people that's oppressing people. Because there's another clip. You want to watch the entire video? It's on there. You could go on there. Just put in the YouTube. War criminals have a right to free speech. Norman Finkelstein. It should pop up. But he's talking about the war criminals in Gaza right now. Because remember, I told you he's a professional. He's whatever. His specialty is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. So he asked earlier in a different clip, like the IDF soldiers that go fight for Israel, after they go blow up kids, shoot kids, women, men, kill everybody, old people, young people, after they go kill those people and they come back to Harvard, they come back to any of these institutions of academia, should they be accepted in those institutions or should they be shunned? That's what he asked in a prior clip. But right now he's asking Cornell, all these war criminals, all these people, should they be allowed to speak in institutions of academia? Because academia is supposed to be nothing but truth. That's what academia is supposed to be. But that's not what academia has ever been. Just like police are supposed to serve and protect. I mean, all of this are lies, are facades to cover, to cloak what these institutions are really erected to do. So he's asking Cornell, this is a black man, he asking him, like, all these people that commit all this stuff, like, he probably thinking in his mind, like, I surely know, like, as a black man, you're not going to sit there and say these people should be welcomed back into popular society. But let's hear what Cornell said, because, like, these are the people that they get to speak for us. Let's see if that what he say is what we would say.
Yeah, I don't have a absolute yes or an absolute no.
I don't have an absolute yes or absolute no. The people that are oppressing people. That's what he would say to slave masters. That's what he would say to them. That's what I could see. What's his name saying the same thing? Du Bois back then. Any of those intellectuals. Should these people that got slaves, should these people be accepted into academia? Exactly what he's saying now is what they would have said back then. Now he's about to make the excuse why he's saying what he's saying.
I've always perceived through the lens of a historical struggle for freedom, in which, from my vantage point, it would be hard to find a U.S. president who could speak anywhere.
You heard what he just said? From his vantage point, which would be black, it would be hard to find a president who can speak anywhere. So why are they allowed to speak? Why haven't you drawn the line that these war criminals, these slave masters, any of these people should not even be in our presence? Yo, we at war. We should be trying to defeat them. Why haven't you drawn that line, Cornell? Let's let him talk about his blues.
Who cannot be characterized in some sense as a war criminal. Starting with the slaveholders. Harry Truman. 290,000, Nagasaki, 350,000, Hiroshima, Vietnam,
Oh, God. Man, I apologize, man. Hate when they do this.
And they're not just presidents, they're not just elected officials, but they're the ideological rationalizers of the misery, of the social-induced forms of suffering and domination. And it comes in all colors, every nation, every empire, every social experiment.
You hear that? So it's not just politicians. He's saying the professors. He's indicting all of them. They're all part of this system to basically help it maintain our suffering, our exploitation. He's saying they're everywhere. These sociopaths, these war criminals, they're everywhere. He's recognizing what these people are doing, what even his class of people are doing. But listen to him.
So the direct answer to your question is, even these thuggish, gangsterized war criminals like a Trump, like a Biden, like an Obama, they have a right to spread their lies.
They have a right to spread their lies. And that in itself is that. Because it's not that they have the right to spread their lies. The people that fund them maintain these institutions, and they give only them access to platforms to speak. So he's not being he's not being of good faith. He's not being genuine. He's like all of it. He's just making this stuff up as he go, because that's not what the conversation is. These people that committed these crimes against people, should they be allowed in public space? Should they be allowed, or should they be shunned? If you bring up Epstein, if you told him, would he be around Epstein? Should Epstein have the right to come in? He'd be like, no. He probably, I don't know what he would say. I don't know what these people would say. You probably find a way to dodge out of it. But these people that commit crimes, war crimes, kill people, they have the right to speak. Speak where? They should be in a hole. They should be in jail somewhere. They shouldn't be in no university teaching no children. They shouldn't be nowhere in public space. They're war criminals. These are the worst of the worst criminals. You see, but he wouldn't say that about people outside, drug dealers, gangbangers. He wouldn't say that about them. They want to extinct people like that. But these people, these war criminals, they have the right. This is who he's taking up for.
I fight for their right to be wrong.
To be wrong.
Because in the end, I'm deep libertarian.
No, in the end, you're good. In the end, you're not the one that they're blowing up. So you fight for their, after they blew people up, after they burned people alive in a hospital, killed babies in cribs, you fight for their right for them to come speak. Not fight for the right for them to be arrested, for the people to deal with them. But don't worry, Norman got another question for him.
People have a right to express their wrong, or whatever form of evil it is. You have to have a robust public conversation about it.
Yeah, those are other middle class Negroes and all that stuff, or middle class people in that space that's agreeing with them, because they all agree with this sentiment. People that blow people up, people that burn children and incubate, because he's talking about Palestine and Israel and Palestine right now. That's dropping bombs on people every day, stopping them from eating, shooting them when they're coming to come get food, shooting kids when they're coming to come get food. I'm not talking about shooting the people that they say they're at war with, Hamas, whoever they say, the boogeymen that they say they. I'm not talking about them fighting them. I'm talking about women and children, people, just the average person, because that's all they've killed out there. They've been dropping bombs on average people, on you. If you was out there, if they decide to do something, no, they'll be dropping bombs on you. You in Palestine, that's who they're dropping bombs on. And he talking about, I stand for the right for the people that's dropping the bombs to speak. What are you talking about? And he's the intellectual. This is the intellectual in the black community. Who is he speaking for? I don't think anybody that drop bombs and kill women and children, kill everybody, kill old people, young people, kill me. These people shouldn't be allowed anywhere. They shouldn't be allowed to speak anywhere. That's where I'm coming from. The same thing that they did should be done to them. That they've been doing to everybody else, that should be done to them. And listen to them. In Cornell West, the intellectual, the black intellectual class, these are the people that they push upon us, are supposed to be role models that we're supposed to look up to. These kind of Uncle Toms that have been working for white supremacy their whole lives.
That was brilliant. I want to add one really important point, which is that
was brilliant. What Cornell West said was brilliant. I don't even want to hear her speak. I really want to get to the next question. But if I change it, people are going to say I'm being I'm what is it? I'm hating on women. So let me let her speak.
Speech is, and this was implicit in Brother West's eloquent preaching, that freedom.
There's no freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of speech. We don't. We don't have freedom of speech. Anybody can say what they want to say. If you don't have no money, ain't nobody gonna hear you. If you're not on this platform that's decided, designed, and functions through capital, through money, nobody's gonna hear you say nothing. You're gonna just be doing like what I'm doing, talking to a few people every Sunday for the rest of my life, trying to get the message out there. Just fighting against everything, trying to get the message. Nobody's going to hear you. They're going to silence you. There is no free speech.
Speech is not only the right of the speaker to convey information and ideas, it's the right of the audience members to
shut up
and support it and to make.
After World War II, aside from some very high-level prosecutions, most people got off. You were a concentration camp guard, probably after the war. Maybe you became a student in college. You got a lot of blood in your hands. Now, a student group decides to invite this concentration camp guard who has a lot of blood in his or her hands and decides, let's hear the German side of Auschwitz. And then sitting in the audience is somebody whose family was tossed into a gas chamber and then was incinerated. I find it a moral abomination. You can talk freedom of speech all you want. This is a very distinct category. Now, Cornell is correct. It means a lot of people. It does. Because where do most of these presiders over murder, where do they end up? They end up teaching at Harvard. They end up teaching at the Kennedy School. They end up at Stanford. That's where they end up. I recognize that it's a large number of people. And I still emphatically believe that's a desecration of the dead. And I find it unacceptable to not take that into account.
And like this are two of the leading academics in the country. They're both telling you that the institutions of academia is complicit in the suffering of people all around the world, not just here in America. They're complicit. And when all these war criminals come back, these are the institutions they go work in. So where is the free speech? So you go to a school, you're 19, 20, 18, you walk into one of these institutions, you're thinking this is spaces of higher learning, where you're there to debate vigorously philosophies, ideas. But all these institutions are being ran by war criminals, the worst of the worst people in the world. And you think you're going to go into those institutions and be able to have a logical debate on anything? And these are the people that we're supposed to be looking towards for ideas on what's just or the path to follow as a people. Cornell West, this is the best that we can do, Cornell West. But this is what Harvard provides. This is what the media provides. Cornell don't speak for none of us.
Surprised Dr. West didn't take it into account.
Well, I took it into account. I just disagreed with you. I think I got a better argument than you have, though, because when you talk about moral abomination, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if you and I agree that the pool is so broad, because we're not just talking about politicians, we're talking about professors, we're talking about journalists, we're talking about TV stations, Supreme Court justices. This thing is pervasive. We're talking about pastors, rabbis, imams. Where does it stop?
Yeah, that's what I'll be talking about. That's exact. This is everywhere. You heard them, rabbis, imams, all these people in professional life, they're all complicit. They're all part of the problem. They're all liars and frauds. The politicians, the academics, all of these people. They're here to help keep that wool pulled over your eyes. So you don't understand, you don't know what's going on. That's why they're here. They're admitting it right now. This is not Africa. I didn't make them see. I didn't write what they're saying. They're saying it for themselves. Everything, all these institutions, the media, he said the soldiers, the military, all these people are here to help the exploitation of us, of all of us. That's why these people are in the position that they're in.
That speech.
Where did it stop?
Speech. I'm talking about a very special category.
Yes.
People who have blood on their hands. Speech.
I think intellectuals have blood on their hands when they justify vicious attacks on people.
And I
do. See, we disagree on this. We disagree on this one, though, brother.
And I don't think.
You see, none of this is about institution building. They're debating on who has blood on their hands in the institutions. These are the academics. These are the thought leaders, the people that's supposed to be leading where we going. Now, look, I'm in North, man, broke as hell in the hood. And I'm over here every show, everywhere I go, we're pushing institution building. We have to build our own institution. We don't want to rely on their institutions to serve us. Listen to what they're pushing. They're arguing about who has blood on their hands. The entire system has blood on its hands. And they just admitted it. If the entire system has blood on its hands, why are you still pushing it on the people? Because you're comfortable where you at. You're paid by that system to run around wearing them dumbass black suits everywhere. And to not get a haircut, got your hair almost in your mouth, like you wouldn't even do nothing about that. Every time he talk, his hair's going in his mouth. All that money you got, you can't even groom yourself, bro. Looking like a straight savage out here. But he could walk around and do all that. Ain't nobody gonna tell him your hair's in your mouth because they're all frauds. They're all frauds.
I'm not real enthused about this.
And I don't think you're endorsing anything that they've done or anything they've said by inviting them. You
see why I say I don't want to hear her talk? How you invite somebody but you're not endorsing what they're doing? You inviting a rapist to your house and be like, I'm not endorsing their rapes? A pedophile, I'm not endorsing their pedophilia, but I'm just inviting them? You're not doing none of that. You're not sitting on that space, but murderers, people that drop bombs on people, people that throw people into the streets, because they sign contracts with slumlords to throw people into the streets. That is violence. Those people, like, they're accepted in popular society because that's how we do stuff in capitalism. Just go ahead and say that. Don't try to act like you're a good person, you're intellectuals, and you're here speaking up for the great liberal cause. You're some frauds. That's what you are. And every time she talks, she gets on my nerves.
Other things, I am to me, the greatest way to honor that
book, but those weren't real Nazis. But this is in regard to Skokie. When the Nazis marched in Skokie, that this is as it were, a learning moment. But those weren't real Nazis. They didn't exterminate anybody. There were a handful of wackos, I think the number was about 30, a handful of wackos in Skokie, Illinois. When people have been murdered, incinerated, gassed, it's a totally different moral question. I don't see why you cannot see the distinction between burning a flag, some wackos marching through Skokie, and people who are drenched in blood.
I see the distinction, but where we disagree is what is accomplished by stifling them from speaking.
Respecting the dead. How about that? Respecting the memory of the dead.
If we respect the dead of oppressed folk from the beginning of time, the public sphere would be empty.
Yeah, that? The public sphere will be empty if the masses of people got to speak. Because the only people that speaks in the public square is those with the platform to speak in the public square. The masses of the people don't have the ability to speak in the public square. They're dragged out by police. They're silenced. Their mics are cut off. They're not even allowed into that space. So if people like you stop speaking, you think there's nobody else like me? You think there's no Jack? You think there's no people out here that's been fighting on the ground, fighting for the liberation of our people? It has never stopped. Wherever community you go in, there's somebody there that's fighting. There's somebody there that's organizing the people. You telling me if you people stop speaking, nobody's going to speak? Is that what you think? But these are the intellectuals.
Is what is accomplished by stifling them from speaking.
Respecting the dead. How about that? Respecting the memory of the dead.
If we respect the dead of oppressed folk from the beginning of time, the public sphere would be empty.
This is how they think.
There's very few who would have the right to enter that public space who would not in some way be complicitous with forms of structures of domination. And
what is he talking about? Everybody like you are complicit in domination. That's why you are allowed to speak and sit up there as if you are anybody for anybody to listen to. And I heard Finkelstein speak one time, and he talked about the other Jews that were there, and they helped to maintain the concentration camps. And he called them dogs. And he said when those people got killed in the streets, nobody cared because they were like dogs they were like straight dogs on the street. See, back then, Peter, now you got Peter and all this stuff that act like dogs are human beings. But what he's talking about back then when he used to call those people dogs on the street, like dogs were seen as animal. They were not seen as equal to human beings. Dogs were just seen as animal, just like you see mice. You see mice, you see rodents. That's how dogs were seen. They were not seen as having more value than a human being like today. How people do, like the animals got more value than human beings. And back then, they looked at them. They said anybody that was a traitor deserved to die in the streets like a dog. That's what Cornel West is. He's a traitor. He's a traitor to our liberation. He's a traitor, man.
Oppression and degradation and hatred and greed.
So you remember the famous lynching, I guess it was that fellow named Sam Jose, was it? Sam
Holes.
So...
Yo, listen to this one right here. This is deep what he about to ask him right here. Listen to this. And if you don't know about this is your first time hearing this, listen to this.
For those of you who aren't aware, lynchings were not carried out for the most part. They were carried out by night. They were picnics. Factories were let out early. School children were let out early. The mother packed a picnic basket. They all went down to the campground.
Yo, you saw how she was closing her eyes, like she felt so bad, like this, because she know the story. She know why closing her eye, like, oh my God, these people. This is the same woman that would support Israel bombing people in Palestine right now.
They lynched the person, set the person on fire while he was being lynched, and at the end, they auctioned off the body parts. Okay? So, if it were your father, Mr. Dr. West, if it were your father, Sam Hose, and then they decide to invite the people who burned him to death to speak at your school, would you just limit yourself to a protest? I don't believe it.
As opposed to what? Just kick his behind?
As opposed to what? Just kick his behind. You're so much of an intellectual, you don't know as opposed to what. You don't understand as opposed to walking away from their institutions and building your own institution. You don't understand opposed to that. The only choice we have is to kick his butt, the person that did it, or to keep supporting the system, or to stay in the system that's hanging us, that makes it an event for them to hang us and our children, our families, our mothers. Our only two options is to kick him in the butt, because he's an intellectual, is to kick him in the butt or to continue to be part of the system. That's what he says. Those are our only choice. He don't know no other choice. He don't understand about building institutions to separate. He never heard Malcolm say separate, because that's what Malcolm meant by separation. Build our own schools, create our own economic centers, which can be done. It's not impossible. It can be done. We could start it tomorrow. In fact, we've already started. That's what we're trying to do. Those are the institutions we're trying to put in the community. But he don't none of that. He don't know none of that. The intellectual, he don't know none of that. All the books he don't wrote, he don't know. As opposed to what?
What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
That's what they did with Hillary Clinton. He's not coming. Too much blood in your hands. You're not coming.
And this is where me and Norman separate. And I would debate them to their face. I have no problem saying these people are idiots and they're wrong. I think what's his name is even worse than the idiot. He's a liar in the Uncle Tom, Cornel West. I mean, but you, Norm, you're wrong. Talking about don't allow them to come. You don't own the institution. You don't own those institutions for you to tell people who can come and who can't come. And even if you tell them they can't come, that doesn't stop nothing. The problem is not going back into these institutions to find liberation. The problem is building our own schools where they will not come, where we can tell them they can't come to spare their lives. Because we have our own curriculum that does not co-sign murdering people, bombing people. Hillary Clinton, she was in the government, and she led the effort to go to Libya and kill Muammar Gaddafi. That was Hillary Clinton with Obama. An African country went over there and they killed the president. I think they stuck a knife up his butt. The terrorists that they got to go in there and go overthrow, that they paid, that they financed to go in there and overthrow a president of another country. Those terrorists stuck a knife in his butt, in his rectum. They killed him. George Bush, they hung another president. They hung Saddam Hussein on national TV. They hung him. That's the crimes these people have committed against entire nations. These are the people Cornel West is saying he fight for their right for them to speak. And Norman is saying these people, we just go into the institutions and tell the institutions not to allow them in. Because he's an institutionalist. Norman, when it comes to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, when I first read his books and listened to him speak, I'm like, yeah, he's smart as hell. But the more I hear of him, as I've grown up, as I've become more involved politically, I see the error. I see the blind spots. He doesn't know it, but he's a racist. I mean, he's a white supremacist, but he wouldn't think he is. If you listen to him, he's going to tell you to go read white people. To go read white people for you to become educated. I don't know what he thinks that's supposed to mean. But everybody that he says are educated, they're often Uncle Toms. These people that have been to all these schools, they're often sellouts. Every time I met him, he brought up one name. He kept bringing that name up over and over, Larry Ham. Larry Ham is COINTELPRO. He works for the government. Larry Ham is a fraud. Larry Ham is one of the people he's talking about. The dogs on the street, the people that support the imperialist state against the people. He's running around, he'll give credibility to the politicians, to the mayor, to all these people that are in the community, displacing people from our community. He gave them social credibility. He go walk around and talk about people's problems, people being killed, all of that, for social credibility for himself. Larry Ham is not organizing to feed nobody, to build no institutions, to do nothing. Larry Ham don't even live in our community. He doesn't even live in Newark. His children, his family, they do nothing for the community. They're part of that class that Du Bois was talking about. That's who Norman always bring up to me. He bring up people like Larry Ham, bring up Cornel West. And I told him several times already, man, Larry Ham or Uncle Tom, man. Nobody care about no damn Larry Ham. I mean, but him, that's where we part ways, my boy. And I'm going to end that right there. That's enough. We had enough of that. I mean, this is the system right here. Listen to this system. This is, who did this? I don't know if this is CBS, NBC, what is this? Something News. I can't even really see it. But they're the one that did this video right here. They're talking to judges, people that work in the system. And listen to how they tell you the system works. Because everybody says it's a democracy, separation of all checks and balances. Listen to what they say.
Were you ever told how to rule?
Yes.
What'd they say?
They told me grant the motions to dismiss. He says when ICE was roaming the courthouses, because if we dismiss the case, that person, that respondent, then leaves the court vulnerable to immediate apprehension and expedited removal.
Just so people understand, you grant a motion to dismiss the case.
Correct.
Now the individual, what?
They are no longer in proceedings.
Once they left the courtroom, more often than not, they will be handcuffed and led away by the ICE officers.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it on social media feed. I don't know if anybody else see it, but I see it all the time. When people go into court, and the ICE agents are there to grab them and lock them up, even though they're going through court. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. This is the democracy that we say we're living in. But they're saying they're told by the government to help the ICE agents to come in there and lock these people up. This is the world we're living in. This is the society we're living in. And if you blind, acting like this system, these court buildings, all this place are the place for you to go seek liberation, freedom, justice, then something is wrong with you. Something is.
Yeah, just back up.
CBS.
We've seen all these videos. I get this to CBS. CBS is doing this.
News has reported on the numerous cases where ICE agents detained immigrants as they exited their court hearings.
That's what's going on out here. This is the society that they're saying we should all go pay homage to. These are the courts that they're saying you should go seek justice from. That's immigration court. And matter of fact, since we're talking about immigration court, when you edit this, please put his picture up there. Like 2 days ago. No, yesterday, I spoke to the comrade. Rodrigo, you here?
I'm here, Chairman.
All part of the people. Try to see if you can put your video on. I spoke to the comrade, and he was talking about his father going through an issue with immigration. My man outside, he bringing it outside with him. That's what we're talking about. Just give us like a 2-minute little brief thing about your father and what happened when we called the immigration lawyer.
Yeah. A few years ago, my father was renewing his green card. And unfortunately, there was a mix-up with when he left the apartment, which address he put. They did send the card, but one of the occupants sent it back. It took him 7 years finally to resolve the issue, because he's been afraid the whole time that if he tries to go to court, start the process of getting his card, then maybe he could be met with agents or anything. But this has been a fear of his for many years. So just glad that this is being taken care of. But then my next worry would be, after the 3 years that's left in the card, if he's going to renew it, we're going to have to speak to a lawyer again in order to get some consultation. But in this case, he's interested in just getting naturalized, so that way we could just avoid any problems, possibly.
All power to the people. So the lawyer helped him out, and like, how was the price?
It's $250 for him to do a job. I mean, he did offer to guide me if I was to go to Newark and do it myself.
Yeah.
But I don't have that schedule, so I asked my father, and he has the money. He's retired, so he's living okay. He just needs probably affordable housing in the future, because the gentleman he rents from almost for nothing, like $750 a month. He's elderly himself,
All power. All power. So, but basically, the reason why I asked him to say that, because I called the lawyer up. As soon as I called him, he told me no problem. He'll give them my information and tell them to get in touch with me. And you heard what Rodrigo said. He said he offered to show him how to go through the process. So if you need a lawyer, he'll call him up. Because we're going through, we have people in these institutions. We have people dealing with these people. So if you want to help anybody, if you need a lawyer, an immigration lawyer, he'll give the brother a call, man. I mean, like, I called him and just to see if he was real. Because I met him, I interviewed him at the ICE facility in Newark. When they had a little kerfuffle down there, there was a lot of stuff going on, protests. And when I went down there, I talked to him. And when I spoke to him, he gave me the number, and I saw how he was down there trying to fight for his client. I mean, but look, if you need a lawyer, he'll call the guy up. Hey, Patience, what's his name?
Calvin Pierce, I believe.
Calvin Pierre?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Calvin.
Put it up there, edit the video.
Yeah, Calvin Pierre. We're going to put it up there. Let's try to do a little nice commercial for the homie Calvin, man. And thanks a lot, Calvin. Thanks for helping him. I mean, but this another intellectual. I don't know what this guy's name is. But I want you to listen to exactly what he's saying right here. Listen to what he's saying.
To do that, automatically you can jump from capitalism to socialism. No. The ruling bourgeoisie will try to kill you first, suppress you. So when Marx says in the Communist Manifesto, you must win the battle for democracy, it means you must assert your democratic rights, the right to assemble and speak out, and all the other rights. And then when your mass movement becomes big, and then they will try to suppress you, they will come out with fascism. So before you can have socialism, the capitalist, monopoly capitalist class will unleash fascism.
So you can't go from capitalism straight to socialism. Socialism basically, like, all of us share in the means of production. That there's nobody homeless, nobody working three jobs to be able to pay rent. To go from to a society like that, you can't just jump from capitalism to there. He's talking about the middle space where you're organizing. We are organizing the people to create those institutions that I'm talking about, that the people can speak freely in, that benefit the people. You have to organize that first. And then once you organize that, fascism is going to come after you. And you have to fight to be able to be free. We are not even at the stage where we are organizing to even be able to fight. And people like this all know this. I don't know who he is. He's probably a famous intellectual or whatever, saying, I don't know who he is. But they haven't been organizing those people for them to build their own separate institutions. They've been ushering everybody into these institutions of white supremacy, of oligarchy. And that's the argument. That's the debate. That what a General Secretary, what did he saying? What's the other what?
Alternative. What's the alternative?
Well, that's the other alternative. Building your own institutions, which is something that they do not want to do, because they understand if they start to do that kind of work, their bosses are going to come after them. They risk losing their jobs in Harvard and all these places. So they're not going to do that. All they're going to tell you is to go vote. Go vote. That's all they're going to tell you. While people are suffering in Newark, New Jersey, this is what the people that have a little bit of money are doing. This is, you see, like, this is the NJ Pack. And they're out there, they're throwing concerts, they're organizing, they're throwing the bread, the circuses, to get the people blind, to have them all ignorant, to have them all dancing while people, 68-year-old mothers, grandmothers, are being shot in their own apartment. This is what the black Negroes, this is in Newark, New Jersey. This was a couple of days ago. This is what they're doing. They're packing out the halls to go listen to Bob Marley. Tell them. Imagine if all those people belong to organization and they're all pulling their resources to build their own schools. You see, but today you could go here, you could listen to the music about suffering. Because this music is about our suffering. That the suffering that we're dealing with, that Bob Marley saw. He put it in to try to inspire the people. These idiots, these Uncle Toms, these sellouts of today, like, to them, they just think like this is just music, like you just go just dancing. Like, forget everything else. Don't build nothing, don't fight for nothing, just go out here, just go partying. Bread and circuses, that's all they care about. Look at them. Look at them. Yo, I see nothing to dance and celebrate about. In the world we're living in right now, in the conditions people are dealing with, yo, I drove past yesterday. I drove past somebody on Dickinson. They were sitting outside with their luggage. They had one luggage and they had like 2 plastic bags, and they were sitting on Dickinson and Sussex. I don't think there's a bus that come right there. Like, there was nothing I could say to them to help them. I mean, like, that image is still in my mind. Like, it was like around 7, 8, 9 o'clock. I was going to Spires. I was driving through on Dickinson, and I saw them sitting out there. Yo, there's nothing for me to dance and celebrate. And we had just came back from talking to the people, the residents and stuff, about the 68-year-old mother that was shot. Grandmother that was shot. It was, to me, like there's nothing to be in here singing and celebrating about, bruh. But that's me, and that's where I'm coming from. The people that I want to associate with, the work I want to do, this is not it. Look at them, all on top everywhere, and then they go home, go to sleep, and they keep on trucking. They could keep on trucking about their life like it's nothing. Yo, there's a conversation between the two Uncle Toms. This guy over here, I think that's Westmore. He's the governor. You work for the government, you work for the system, you're already Uncle Tom anyway. And the other person is a host on Fox News. Both of these Negroes don't support the black community. They don't work for the black community. The black community is not paying their bills. They work for oligarchs, imperialists that are trying to push a certain message out there. And listen to the conversation that they're about to have.
Curious why you've been so critical of the administration trying to solve this problem. Is it the process that you don't like? Because it looks like they're doing the same thing that you're doing, which is surging resources to the city.
He's talking about Trump bringing down the military, the National Guards, whatever, saying like sending police into the streets to say they're going out there to go solve the crime epidemic, the crime issue. They're not going to go grab no landlords. They're not going to deal with the systemic problem that's creating the poverty. They're sending them out just as a show of force, just to go out there to go scare people. They act like they're doing something, but once they leave, the systematic issues are still going to be there. But he's on Fox, and you heard what he told him. He just said it like, why do you have a problem with the president sending the military down there to go solve issues that have nothing to do with the military? And he's acting like he's saying something noble, something smart. You see, but if you listen to Fox and you listen to mainstream media, you don't even understand the debate. You think what he's saying is actually like, that's gospel. Like, yeah, you be sitting in your living right, yeah, why you mad? Trump is sending them out there to go clean up the streets. As if the military coming out is going to solve the issue. As if it's not the corporations that's causing the problem, the politicians that's causing the problem, the judicial system that's causing. It's none of that. The people outside, the people that they've thrown out of the system, the people that can't fend for themselves, these are the people that you need to send police with guns to go out there and harass, and you're going to change capitalism and how capitalism works. See, this is the goofy conversation they be having. Now let's see what West say about this.
It's because I'm proud to be the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland, and
he's proud to be the governor. One of those slaves that Du Bois was talking about escaped from Maryland, but he's proud to be the governor. He's proud to be a house Negro. He's proud because it's either you work like you got to pick your master. You can't serve two masters. These are the people Malcolm was talking about, the house Negro. He's proud to work for these imperialists, for these oligarchs, because he does not work for us. You and I are not putting money in his bank accounts. We pay him. They use our money to pay him as governor or whatever. But the money that he get from the other people, the oligarchs, the people that he's pushing policy from, that money, that's millions. That's millions. And that's who he works for. And he's proud to be governor. Go ahead, tell him, Westmore.
I'm honored to be the Commander-in-Chief of the Maryland National Guard. I stand with the remarkable men and women who have raised their hand, these citizen soldiers, who frankly are trained to fight and win our nation's wars. The people who, in times of emergency and in times of crisis, that I have the unique authority and the unique ability to mobilize them, and where I have done so as the governor of the state of Maryland, whether it is historic floods that we've seen in western Maryland, or whether it's the fact that I still currently, right now, have men and women who are deployed overseas doing operations. This is something that I take very seriously.
Where they at overseas doing missions? Why haven't you deployed those people to go take care of these landlords that's throwing people into the streets illegally? Because they're not doing it legally. If you at home thinking gentrification is about people just can't afford their homes, no. These landlords come in and double the rent illegally. It's not legal. They're supposed to be going to prison for the stuff that they're doing. But these politicians do not hold them accountable. These judges don't hold them accountable. So they come in and double my rent, and I'm like, yo, I'm not paying that. I can't afford to pay that. You just double my rent from $1,500 to $3,000. I'm not paying that. Yo, they take you to court after like 6 months. You owe a whole bunch of thousands of dollars. The judge know what they did is illegal. All the judge is going to tell you, like, either you owe these people all these thousands of dollars, or you know what? You could just make a deal where you move out. And then, like, the money is gone. Like, you don't have to pay them nothing. Most people take that deal because they don't have all that money to pay. And they understand at the end of the day, the judge is going to kick them out anyway. I'm going to hurry up. I'm going to speed it up. But yeah, but they understand. That's how gentrification works. The system, the institutions here are helping the landlords, the slumlords, push people out this community so they could bring people in that have more money. It happens every generation. They're always pushing people out. That is how the system is built. That's how the system functions. So you will never see them get all the people that he say, that I have them, I could send them here, I could send them there. Where you sending them? Where that military going? You send them to go liberate Africans? Or you send them to go bomb people in Palestine?
Particularly as someone who's worn the uniform. Particularly as someone who's had to say goodbye to my family. Particularly as someone who has had to trust the judgment of the commander-in-chief, knowing that the decision that they made was one that had not just the best interests of the national security in mind, but the best interests of me and my family. And so all I'm saying...
Like, you hear this illusion they sell to people, that these commanders-in-chief, these presidents, they're making decisions that benefit the people. You could go back and look at all the presidents. You just heard Cornel West tell you that all these people are war criminals. But you hear him up here. Listen to how he's talking about these people.
Is if we want to have a serious conversation about violent crime, we can have a serious conversation about violent crime, and I would love to be able to share the multitude of things that we are doing in the state of Maryland, where we are surging support for local law enforcement.
There's surging support. For them to deal with this stuff, there's surging support for local law enforcement. They're giving them more guns. They're allowing them to brutalize the community. They have them going in the community, harassing the people. Like this, look, that's what he's saying. This is what he's doing. And who are those people that they're abusing? The same class of people that Du Bois was talking about.
Surging support for predictive analytics and technologies.
Surging support for analytics and technology. So what would that be? You know, they got the machines in the hood. They got the big machines in the hood for the guns, whatever. If they hear a gunshot, they got cameras. They got drones. That's what he's talking about. All this stuff to police our community. Those are the things that he's talking about.
Surging support for community groups.
Surging support for community groups. What community groups? The fake NGO nonprofits that they control, that they own. They funnel money to those groups, and they put up fake activists or activist groups in the community that act like they're doing something, but all they're doing is telling you to snitch on yourself. We got gun buyback. You go bring the gun buyback to them. They're going to write your name down. They're going to give it to the police. He came and brought his gun in. Like, these are the stuff that they're funding. Then he's not funding institutions to liberate no black person or build no institutions to serve the people. That's not what they're doing. But listen to him spin it.
And allowing more support for the mayor and the county executive.
Allow more support for the mayor and the county executives. The seamstress to our pain, allowing them more power. Because these are the people that are oppressing us. These are the people that are making our life hell. These are the people that, when they say systematic, these are the people that control those systems and maintain and build those systems. Those are the people he's talking about. These are who he's giving power to. Nothing here is about the people.
And the people on the ground doing the work. And we were able to receive some really encouraging and historic results.
What historic result? You telling me people in Baltimore, people in D.C. not suffering from gentrification? They're still not suffering from crime? They're not suffering from being underpaid? They're not working 3-4 jobs? Is that what you're telling me, Wes? You telling me everything, since you became governor, everything changed over there, Wes? People are living better? The mass are living better? Or is it you and your club of Negroes that are living better, just like Du Bois was talking about in the Philadelphia Negro?
in Baltimore and around the state of Maryland, and I never once had to mobilize the National Guard in order to accomplish those feats.
Governor, now listen, this way take a turn now. Listen, yo, I swear to God, yo, this is like straight watching two Uncle Toms argue, bro. Listen to this guy right here. Listen, yo, he is a conservative. He is on Fox. Only the bootlickers of the bootlickers that don't care nothing about black people will even show themselves to even work on that station. Nothing. That station is the most reactionary state. Well, they're all the same, man. I was about to say the most reactionary station, but MSNBC, Fox, CNN, they're all the same. They all push the lie from a different angle. But this is the bootlicker of the bootlicker. Listen to him say how much he loved us.
It's a different war now. There's more brothers dying here.
There's more brothers. You notice how he dropped? There's more brothers dying here. Dying here. Let's go.
In these cities than overseas. So isn't it fair to have them there? And it's Democrats that agree with this measure. Don't take my word for it. The local cop there, the police chief.
The local cop, the police chiefs, these are the words that he's taking. Like, what is wrong with these people, bro? The local cop, the local chief, these are the words of the people that he's taking.
Agrees with this. The mayor of the city agrees with this. And it's because people that look like me and you are dying.
They agree with it because people that look like me and you is dying. That's not why they agree with it. They agree because all the stunts that they're trying to pull to try to do anything in there has nothing to really do with the people. It makes all of them money. It has nothing to do with the people.
No one needs to explain to me the pain that is taking place in so many communities. No one needs to explain to me the pain that is taking place in so many communities, urban, rural, and suburban, who are being besieged by this issue of gun violence, who's being besieged by this issue of chronically and generationally not feeling safe inside of your neighborhoods. And it's the reason that we have made it our top priority to make sure that people are feeling safe. But
people are not feeling safe because they can't afford to live. They can afford groceries. They can afford food. They can afford a place to stay. That's why people are feeling that type of way. Everything he's talking about, that's not what's going on in our communities. People are tired of these landlords. They're tired of a system where you work in 3 jobs and you can't afford nothing. That's what people are dealing with. And once you can't afford nothing, there are no jobs. There's not enough jobs for people. There's not enough ways for people to be able to sustain themselves. They're going to participate in underground economies. That's what people are dealing with. See, our conversation is totally different. I mean, all they do here is try to pitch you and try to find ways to criminalize our communities to make it seem like our communities are the problem, not the people that fund them to throw us out of our communities, not the people that pay them campaign dollars for them to depress wages. Like, they're talking in circles, but there's never anybody on these platforms to challenge them on what they're saying. So they just keep running their mouth, which is imperative that we build our own institutions, our own spaces where we could have this conversation. And that's part of the reason why we have this platform here.
I can tell you right now, what people want more than anything in those communities is they don't want performative, they want performance, right? They're not looking for someone to walk around with military fatigue and a big gun. They're looking for someone who actually understands how to make people feel safe and how to make people actually...
Nobody wants to just feel safe. People want to be safe. Ain't nobody trying to feel safe. He about to talk about AOC and them. But
people living under a rock.
Now that's Chris Smalls. He was the one. He's part of the union, the Amazon union, trying to get people on the plantation to get a union. Hey man, I tell Chris too. We're supposed to be organizing to walk off the plantation, not trying to find more ways to be more comfortable on the plantation. That's what I tell Chris. But Chris is coming at AOC and Bernie. I mean, they're running around talking about the oligarchy tour while they're helping drop bombs on people in Palestine.
You can't tell me that they didn't catch wind of what was going on. So what really surprised me, that more people are not calling them out for their BS. And I'll just say bullshit. Bernie and AOC in particular, they've been traveling the country with this big-ass fight oligarchy tour. And when he's doing this tour, they're telling the crowd that Israel has a right to defend itself. That's what they're doing. So, right. So, am I surprised that he didn't speak up? Yeah. But at the same time, they're showing their true colors right to God. They're not my senators. They're not my elected officials. And I can tell you who mine is. You know the POS. Cory Booker. I come to you because the list goes on and on. All of these politicians, it's a bipartisan in the South. We know that. We got to educate the two-party system. Bottom line.
Let me try to speed through this. Let's try to listen to your boy Umar.
On August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a notice to auction off the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy campus for unpaid vacant property registration fees. I repeat, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a lien to auction off the campus we bought, the campus we've been working on for 6.5 years.
There's no we. And I'm going to stop it there. See, like, once again, there's no we. I've interviewed him, too. I spoke to him several times. I don't agree with his philosophy and how he's doing things, but he get donations, and he said he was going to build a school for black people, to build his own school. That's not a school for black people. That's your school, which you was using and you was trying to capitalize off from. That's your school. A school for black people is the black people in that community controlling that school, controlling everything. You controlled everything with the school you was trying to build. Now when they come and they do what imperialists do, what oligarchs do, what fascists do, when they come in and they take your individual school and then you come and say our school. That I didn't have no decision in that school, bruh. It's not our school. I mean, so like when you say stuff like that, like you could dismiss me with that. Professor Carter was just here. She said she was watching whatever, and she said, did you know the last plantation was not dismantled until 2009? When one uses the language of the oppressor, they said, nah, I want to find something. Oh yeah, she said, you know that we have a history in the capitalist financial system of having over 1,200 that we currently know of economically and financially sufficient black communities developing after chattel slavery. Yeah, I know. And illegally. Black folks in the small communities were all murdered in those communities. She's talking about stuff like Rosewood. The communities were replaced with lakes to ensure the generations after never know. Those are not the Uncle Toms that Du Bois was talking about. Like, just like him just saying his school was our school. When he was building the school, it was his school. It wasn't our school. Dr. Umar, everybody say, when is Dr. Umar's school built? Nobody said, when is the black school built? Them little towns like Rosewood and all these places that the reactionary, that the racists, the fascists, whatever you want to call them, come in and burn down, or come in his case, and take away that school. All that stuff belongs to individual people. They were trying to use these things to capitalize, or these spaces they were capitalizing on the rest of us. It never belonged to everybody. Rosewood, everybody wasn't eating in Rosewood. It was the few Negroes, just like the ones in the Philadelphia Negro, that were all eating, that had all the business, that had all the institutions, while the mass of people was catching hell. And it's the same thing with you, bruh. You didn't come in there and be like, yo, I spoke to you before. I'll do that. I try to reach out to you. You ain't come sit down with all the organizers, real revolutionaries out there, and say, come on, let's put our money together. Let's build a school. Let's organize the people so we could build schools in all our communities, not just one school that I'm talking about. It's my school, and I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that. Like curriculum that you control. That's not our school. That's your school. I mean, and the problem I have is people do all of this and they try to mask it as if it belongs to the people. It don't belong to the people. This is your stuff. And when you lose it, the people are not coming to come fight for it as if it was theirs, because it was never theirs. They never had possession of it. They never had control. They never had a say in nothing. So why should people run all up and go give you money or do whatever to go take care of your school? Yo, we have to change that dynamic. We got to move that paradigm where we thinking like doing things individually. is going to mean anything for the masses of the people. We have to change that. Hold up. So they coming in, they about to take that. So that's the end of that school. So nobody got to ask no more, where's Dr. Umar's school? It's a wrap. This is the last video I'm going to show right here. I mean, and this video is deep right here. Yo, I want you to listen. Right now, she's doing a Uber or whatever she's doing. So this might be another job that she had on top of her job. And she's out here delivering. Yo, listen to the person that's recording, because he recorded from inside. She's out here to come do a delivery, bring something to him. And like they live in a pretty nice neighborhood too. She had to park all the way out there and walk all the way in here. And watch what happened.
Stop laughing.
She's running behind me.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's
Yo, yeah, her voice cracked and she begging. Yo, all her possession is probably in that car. Everything she got is probably in that car. She's trying to work, trying to get the money to pay the bills, can't afford to live out here. And this person that she went to deliver to, because us, those of us in the hood, like this, we go work to go deliver to these people, even during COVID. Because they won't go out and buy tissue. They won't go out and get nothing. They'll sit up in their house and they'll order that stuff on the computer and they'll wait for us. Those of us that are starving. What they call this? Yeah, what they call this, General Secretary? People that work during that time? Essential workers. She's working, trying to pay the bills, and they just came and towed her car. And he done made this video, put the video out, and he laughing. She's running after it. It's funny to him. It's funny to him. When I saw the video, it wasn't funny to me at all. Something hit me deep in my stomach. Like, I'm wondering, like, what she did. Like, how you going to get home? Her keys was probably in the, well, not, I hope she had her keys with her. But her pocketbook, her ID, her license, and bruh just left with the car. And this dude is inside laughing. Like it's funny. Then she go on, she shoot up a spot. Because it's mental health. All that stuff can drive you crazy. Like, what do you do after that? And we just laugh. Like, he's back there laughing. He made a little skit. Jitsu. Like, it's funny. Our suffering is funny to these people. This little video encapsulates everything that we talked about today. About class, everything. There's nothing funny about this. Listen to it. Listen to her voice break when she begging, like, please don't do this to me.
She's running behind.
Nothing beats a Jet2.
Look at the brown bag in her hand. She delivering. And I think at the end she said at least. She probably was about to say at least let me get my ID and stuff out of there.
She's running behind me.
I don't find nothing funny about that. Yeah, we was driving yesterday, and the bus came by, and dude like he was waiting for the bus. No, I was by myself. I did it more than once. I did it several times. I drove by, the dude was waiting for the bus, and the bus had the bus had left him. So I stopped. I was like, come on, I'm like, you want to ride? So I'm thinking we about to catch the bus. When he got in the car, bro was like, nah. He was like, that wasn't even the bus. He was like, that's the Rutgers bus. I got the wrong bus. He was like, but could you drop me off on Lyons and Bergen? Yo, I started laughing. I'm like, you know what? Since you're in the car, I'm going to drop you off. But prior to that, earlier this week, this dude was running for the bus. The bus saw him, man, and the bus driver kept going. So I opened the car, and I let him in. You see, I don't think that stuff is funny. I don't think it's funny people running, trying to get where they're going, and like public transportation, the bus leaving, or people coming to tow their car, the police coming to tow your car and make you go pay $300, $400 to get your car back. Some people say $500 to get. I don't think any of that is funny. When people talk about mental health, these are all the things that cause mental breakdowns every single day, having to deal with a world or society constructed like this. But I'm done for today, man. General Secretary, you got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah.
You want me to play it?
No, you don't have to. So we are asking you guys to support us by buying our food. We will be selling food Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the NAVB Grills. This video is on Chairman's Africa's Instagram if you want to watch it. It's some young men from the community. They had a taste of our chicken, which is the best in Newark so far. So, you know, if you want to support, buy a plate.
Go ahead, Patience.
You can play if you want, or go to the next one.
I'm going to go to the next one.
Also, another way to support us is by buying our merchandise. We have adult T-shirts for $20, youth T-shirts for $10. We have adult hoodies for $40, and we have youth hoodies for $20. Next slide. The funds we get support our programs. These next couple of slides is going to show the programs that we have, which is the after-school enrichment boxing program. We have our summer camp. We have the 1 versus 1 youth basketball scholarship program. We have the free food program. We have the intercommunalism, and we also have our housing program. September coming up. If anybody wants to donate to that rent amount, which is $200, please hit us up. This is to help a mother and her family stay in their homes. And that's all I have, Chairman. I'm going to come close the screen share.
Yeah, it's hot as hell, too. I'm hot in the mouth. Hey, yo, till next time, all power to the people, yo. Man, I hit something. You should just ended it over there. I'm here. Yo, I'm hot. Hurry up and close so I can wipe my face.